Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Zwift Live broadcast of the Zwift Racing League. The first broadcast, the first race we've got of the 2023-24 season. It is round one, race one. We're out in Glasgow here. We are on the Rolling Highlands, 3 laps. Going to be seeing a lot of going over the top of the corkscrew as well as breakaway Bray. Hope you checked out all of your recon rides, and the buildup has just been crazy. I'm Nathan Guerra. Dave Towle is next to me, and I'm excited for 3 rounds of racing. 6 races ahead of us in round number 1. The riders in the A category for our first race are out on course. We'll be covering 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 races across Europe and 2 races across the Americas, across all categories as best we possibly can. Dave, I'm super excited. The build-up has been coming, and we are finally here.
I can already feel your energy. I'm pumped, Nathan. The buildup has been tremendous, so let's get it on. I can't wait. So perfect course to start with as well. This is a racer's course, no doubt about it. So, Nathan, we've never really done this before. A straight-up scratch race, right? All the points are at the finish line. No bonuses today. We got 3 sectors that will be really useful for riders looking to mix things up out here. I'm expecting an absolute Donnybrook here in Glasgow. So let's go.
100%. Let's take a quick replay here. We do have some moves early on in the race. Just wanted to, as the riders are heading through the Old Forest at the moment. But in this first go here for the EMEA, for our coverage, we are on EMEA Open South Division 1, and WLC from the get-go, we're on the move. From there, it has been Teppo L'Oreal off the front for a moment. They're about to head on over through their first go at the breakaway Bray. It was an initial opener for a lead-in here. Lead-in not too long, and then they're going to start their official laps. 3 laps in total. 32K is what they will be covering. It's going to be a fast one. I think these riders in this A category, if they're going to be trying to make some breakaways out here today, Dave, I have a feeling we're looking at somewhere around 40 to 45 minutes top. So a fast one today.
Yeah, we're going to burn right through it out here, Nathan. So you hit it right on the head, talking about that 5.1 kilometer lead in to get us into the 3 circuits that we're going to be racing on each circuit at just under 9 kilometers each. You know, it's going to be aggressive out here today, no doubt about it. We see some familiar names and some new names in the mix, but Nathan, here we go. Accelerator down on the floorboard already as Michelle's here, one of the SPSD ex-protege riders. There's Podzaline, very familiar name, Nathan. So Wahoo Lacole is back, and they're in full effect here as we get things going. Just about to start lap 1 proper here.
Podzaline now on the front, 8.8 watts per kilogram. Just let know, here's the thing, there's no points, right? So things change up a lot. What we're used to seeing within the Zwift Racing League is a lot of points being fought for, but without any point structure out here today, this is going to just be all about trying to make the breaks happen, and a lot of feather power-ups being used up and over the top here. They will be picking up a burrito through that banner right there, and I would not be surprised if there will not be a lot of use of that today, as that will eliminate the draft for the riders behind anybody using that burrito, and perhaps some of those breakaways we're looking for, and there they are, already starting to be popped here. And Dave, with that area of effect on these downhills, if anybody's really suffering and they can't find that draft, especially with Pit Pack Dynamics 4.1, I have a feeling, as you can see, the separations are going to be coming quickly.
I want to get back to 4.1 and those pack dynamics, Nathan, because things really have changed. And again, we talk about this being a racer's course. The dynamics, as far as the dynamics in Pack 4.1 are going to be tremendously favoring the aggressive riders. We take a look at Butler now. So Wahoo Lacole definitely came in with the game plan. There's Teppo L'Oreal, one of the most celebrated and decorated. He's an Esports bronze medal winner, and you can see splits happening, about 20 riders back in this group. So already a dynamic moment. We're just out onto the first of 3 laps out here. And Nathan, exactly what we expected. It is on like Donkey Kong here. We're starting off with this first ever pure scratch race, just racing to the finish line here, and it looks like our first real breakaway is coming back together. It just goes back and forth, body blow after body blow being thrown at the front right now.
Jay Worm now to the front here. We do have another. Now, see, here's the counter, and this is a great spot to try and make a counter. We were talking about this a lot in some of the conversations in the wrap, as well as a few conversations between some of the teams, that the initial kick over breakaway Bray is going to put the heart rates up. And then you have the little lock loop connector there down into what I like to call the mystical forest here. And this little forest, you know, it's deceptive because it's a completely false flat. And a lot of the heart rates will be up at this point, and it does give the opportunity for riders to maybe make a counter. Worm now made a little bit of a move, but all back together out of the 93 riders making the start line out here today. A lot of big names, a lot of big teams. There's actually a new team out here I'd be on the watch out for. I've been seeing them show up a lot throughout the summer, actually. They were in a lot of the broadcasts that we had. The new Dragons team presented by Sunweb. Be on the watch out for them for sure. I have a feeling that they're here to try and make their stamp on the EMEA South today. We also got Beast Mode showing up. I do saw Christoph's theme is out there. Backpedal with Decker, Team Vegan. So a lot of big names, but again, who can go past Jean Worm when it comes to ESRT and the Swedish riders here, as he has got one of the best kicks out there. If it does come down to a sprint, Dave, don't go past him.
Kirkfield, Nathan, the dragon, one of the dragons, the German dragon there on that team, the Dragons by Sunweb, that I'm expecting to do some serious damage out here. As we take a look at the Swedish riders, that's one of the more dominant flags that we're going to be seeing at the front end of this race here by the time we make our way into the middle part of lap 2. So Nathan, there really are 3 sectors out here: Corkscrew, Castle Climb, Cliffs Climb, and then Breakaway Bray, where I'm expecting to see the big efforts being launched. Right now, Beast Mode to the front, and this should have the alarm bells ringing. It's amazing to see. Again, isn't it great to be back? It really feels wonderful seeing racing and at such a high level again as we are out of the gate. It's going to be 6 races this season as we're out here, couple points races, and of course WTRL, well known for their team time trials, and we've got 2 of them this season to look forward to, Nathan, as we have the riders right now kind of settling into a rhythm, don't we? After an aggressive start, this is the first time, and there you go, Wahoo Lacole's going to attack with Christopher Dawson.
Be on the watch out for Dawson, one of the strongest riders in the field by far. He recently representing Ireland at a lot of UCI mountain bike World Cups. So this is a rider I think you're going to need to be watching out for when it comes to being really punchy, able to perhaps escape. When it comes to high-end mountain biking, that's essentially big punch and hold the highest wattage you possibly can for a little bit over an hour to an hour and a half. And these are shorter races than that. I think this rider can probably hold a solid, pushing up into 6 watts per kilogram for the duration of this race if he really wanted to. So putting him off the front by 4 seconds, if they give this guy too much leash here, he might be absolutely gone.
In real life racing, Nathan, I would say you're 100% correct that mountain biking, Olympic or short track, is the closest or most similar as far as the effort that you're making to esports. And you absolutely are correct, as Dawson has been riding in the top 30 at World Cups. And that's the most intense. Maybe cyclocross and World Cup mountain bike racing have the most intense starts in sport that's comparable to esport. Right now, Christopher Dawson is definitely going to get some attention. This man carries some water in his passion bucket, that's for sure. So Wahoo Lacole, they've been looking for this all day. Rose Beast Mode, it looks like they're leading the chase right now. They're putting all their men up on the front here. All right. Well, really the first salvo being fired here by Wahoo Lacole. This is a significant moment now because we got to move some chess pieces around on the board here.
Take a look at this, though. Beast Mode getting organized at the front. They definitely have a DS saying, okay, control that. They do have Von Harren here on the front. 5'6", 5'5", matching Dawson best he can, it looks like. And that's to control things, keeping a tempo. And Dave, what does that do at the front of a peloton? Not only does it keep the chase involved here, but it also makes sure that nobody's really able to counterattack at too high of a high. To get away from this, you'd have to go 8-9 watts per kilogram and really punch super hard. So as you can see here, Dawson, I think, seeing the writing on the wall a little bit.
You are absolutely right. It's like running a humidifier and a dehumidifier in the same room with what they're doing at Beast Mode now. Wahoo Lacole makes a big play. You could see his teammates now talking about Christopher Dawson as Tepa Lorio was just lurking there, but they don't want to help close down that gap, and they're waiting to see what happens. And Beast Mode is effectively neutralizing this attack from Christopher Dawson and letting him burn his flame a little hotter than he might want to right now. And I think Dawson might pull the pin, Nathan, and just come back to the group. Give him credit. an aggressive move. And this is exactly how you want to race in esports. But eventually you realize, too, the writing is on the wall with the move like this, and you just want to go back and reset. And I would expect a counterattack coming from the Finnish rider, Tepalorio, here.
Oh, and here is actually a counteraction. It's going to be Anderson. Yep. ESRT in their new in-game kit. Great to see. Look at that. I really like this kit, actually. It's got some little bit of panache to it. I like how
it's your style. Yeah, no, it definitely fits a Nathan world.
Yeah, and I like the little accents on it there with the ESRT along the shoulders a little bit. It's kind of gamey. It feels a little bit like 1980s, 1990s game a little bit too as well. So nice job on ESRT with their in-game kit here. They're heading on over toward the corkscrew. They're going to get their next power-up coming on through here. So Feather is collected, and they'll be looking toward corkscrew breakaway Bray on this first lap of a total of 32K and 3 laps out here today. No breaks able to happen just as of yet, as everybody's throwing away their burritos as best they can. Does look like on the front end a green jersey using that burrito perhaps to their advantage as best as they can, but I have a feeling that's not going to be going much of anywhere. I have a feeling that's Zen Darsky here from Mutant now on the front here out of Poland. But into these downhills, what's interesting, Dave, 4.1 is going to give us a whole new, Pack Dynamics 4.1 is going to give us a whole new feeling as to what is actually possible. Because before, downhills were never a place you'd ever want to do something like this. But Decker, here off the front just a little bit, if he holds a higher watt per kilogram than most of that pack, have to be a solid full watt per kilogram. But at 53 kilometers per hour, look at the pack. They're traveling at 50. That roll through, it don't happen the same way. And as you can see, you can get away almost anywhere on a course now.
They really slowed down the churn. And when you look at it now, I mean, what a dramatic change from when the anvils were introduced a year ago, and it was the exact other end of the spectrum. Now we found really the sweet spot, I would say, and exactly what, like, Nathan, if this was a year ago, that catch would have been made of, as Decker is still going to come back into this group, but they had to do it wasn't just virtual gravity that brought him back. They had to do some work at the front of this group. So certainly the racing is going to be better and encourage riders to attack more and make things just more fun to race and watch. So very quickly on the power-ups today, only 2 at play, and they're no longer randomly distributed, and I like that. The feather power-up, that's the reducing your body weight by 10% for 30 seconds out there. The burrito, I think, might really have found its moment, Nathan, as turning off the draft for 20 seconds, and it's been retooled just like Pack Dynamics 4.1. They've absolutely narrowed that cone behind, haven't they? When you talk about it with the draft for the dynamics, and in the burrito, it can be very, very effective for splitting a group. Let's go back to Tepalorio on the front right now, as it is Grupo Compacto, Tutto Compacto, all together right now here as we make our way through the middle part of this race right now.
Tepalorio, a little bit of attack and making some moves. Good to see Lorio back. He's been doing a lot of gravel in real life. Some solid results, it looks like, as well. Counterattack over the top of the corkscrew. Going to happen over to the lock loop transition. Second time into the breakaway Bray. We got one off the front. It is going to be the BZR Eagles from Belgium. 174 beats per minute currently. A little bit of a move, but looks like he's going to calm it right on down as the pack comes rolling right on through. Next time over the top of breakaway Bray. Perfect opportunity. In my opinion, there's 3 places. I'm kind of showing all my chips. I have no choice to it, but as a commentator, I'm going to give all the tips and tricks away here. But I think the reality, I'm racing in the West later tonight, and I'm scared to give them all because it's essentially probably what I'm going to be up to as best as I can. But what you're looking for, Dave, in a race like this is to use the rolling sections on timing, I think, and really timing as best as you can when the pack is going to be tired from the efforts, and countering when you think they may be tired as best as you possibly can. And a lot of rolling speed, a lot of timing with rolling speed in ways that counters attacks that you can anticipate that may be coming. And right here, this breakaway Bray, this is going to make people hurt, but it's maybe not necessarily always when you're going to be able to get away because there's so much anticipation.
I've never seen more feathers being thrown up at the
Oh
same
my
time than right here, right now, Nathan. That is absolutely bananas. So everybody on the same page, and I'm on the same page with you. Going back to your most recent points there, no question. So as we pick up the action now again, Wahoo Lacole in that familiar kit, same thing. Nice to see the Kirkmeyer kit out here. These are the teams, the cornerstone squads that we've got in the ZRL. So as we get our first race underway. Taking a look now at Christopher Dawson, who's back at it. So the man from Northern Ireland, just outside of Belfast. And I gotta love the cap here. There's so many cool elements of Zwift. And it really is, Nathan. It feels so good to have this level of racing back. And as we take a look at the counterattacks coming, Butler has been active out here today as well. We're going to talk about the Dragons more and more. There is no question that this is going to become one of the powerhouse squads, Nathan.
And it is going to be Butler WLC. Weidenkamp there from the Dragons following up really quickly. Now, I want to just talk a little bit about how this pack is forming, because as you can see, the avatars are stringing out, and what they're looking for is the best draft that they can possibly get. And the way that, and we do have a couple of riders there joining up, they have dropped riders actually making their way. They're going to take a left-hand turn actually away over toward the breakaway bray. So those are riders that are still needing to cover through the breakaway bray. We just saw the main pack go through. So the main pack can be taken right. Those three riders will be taking a left here in just a moment. But the cone of the draft has also been lessened. So what used to be a wider
narrowed.
draft, yeah, it's
right.
been narrowed down. And so as you watch these avatars, you're going to see them string out a little bit more, because people are going to back off looking for that draft as the effort that you have to put in just to stay with somebody. You end up double wheeling with them a little bit more than you used to. So another situation where Zwift trying to make it so that breakaway efforts can try and make a move here. Again, one of my favorite places to try and make a break, head into the forest. We'll see if it makes a move.
The enchanted forest. But sticky draft, Nathan, these are some terms that are very unique to esports that we'll have a chance to discuss and break down even more and more as we, again, really get used to Pack Dynamics 4.1. So taking a look at exactly that, the peloton here at this moment, a little bit of a reprieve as we take a look at the entire group together. Actually, a few riders have been dropped out of this group, but all of our heavy hitters are here, and I think they're about ready to level up at this point. You can see some riders moving up through the group right now. So yeah, we're right on the threshold of another attack coming out of this group, Nathan. You can feel the ticking, hear that ticking time bomb in this group right now, as some teams must be ready to activate their second plan here.
Yeah, and there's what do we got left here? We've still got a lap and a half left here, so there is opportunity, but I have a feeling some of these riders are starting to think, it doesn't look like anything's really going to be sticking here. The level in this EMEA, and the sprinters are starting to lick their chops here, I think, here, Dave. I think they're starting to think, okay, this is going to be our kind of race. It's going to stick together, and with about 20 minutes or so left to go, we are going to be able to make this happen for a sprint effort. Now, who's the big sprinters out here today, Dave, to be watching out for? I'd be watching out for Podsline, John Worm. Christoph Thiem as well, I think, is a big name here. Beast Mode's with the control.
So I'm seeing Daniel Thiem, Nathan, on the Beast Mode team.
Oh, maybe I got that incorrect. That's got to be a whole new name.
Well, so it's a brother, I believe. I'm trying to Google this, and it's actually a good thing for the Thiem family that I can't figure that out online. That'd be a little creepy, right? But it looks like, I think that's the case. Beast Mode is a long-running team. That's not the team that Christopher rode for. The last name spelled Thiem, but I checked a couple seasons ago and was assured that they pronounce it team, like sports team. So taking a look, I have a strong feeling that's a brother, but you were right with Verm to watch for at 16.4 watts per kilo on paper. He's an absolute monster, but look out for Robin Anderson as well on the ESRT team, another Swedish rider.
We do have a little bit of a move here coming from Vern. Nice job by him. It looks like getting 1 second, 7.9 watts per kilogram, 170 beats per minute. He's got the distance now. Butler trying to get across, it looks like, and we can get this first person point of view. And now when you are racing and you do use this either a first person point of view or third person point of view, or camera 1 or camera 3. That can be a little bit of confusing. If you push 3 on your keyboard or you cycle through the cameras on your companion app, you can get into either this, what is called third person point of view, which would be camera 1 on your keyboard, or that third person point of view or first person point of view, which is camera 3 on your keyboard. And those will give you different points of view. The whole point being, look at the bottom of the screen in either of those views. You can see the meters actually that you have. Within 5 meters, there is a draft within 5 meters. So if you don't have more than 5 meters on that avatar or so, around 5 meters is right at that breaking point. And so as you can see here, they actually have a little bit of a gap on some of the riders down below here. This is starting to split just a tad. And you could see from the meters below exactly what was represented. And so a lot of times riders feel like they have to have these camera views that don't necessarily assist them also, though, in drafting or interacting with the game in maybe the best way. And those meters at the bottom, they can tell you a lot of information, as well as the riders by on the right-hand side, that you might be trying to get by switching cameras rather than just pedaling hard on your bike when you are trying to make those breaks.
Well, welcome to the Pain Cave, ladies and gentlemen. This is a really dynamic moment here, Nathan. You can see that at the front, there's one rider who's done some damage. There's a group coming together to try to just regulate this, and then a major split happening. So it is all hands on deck for a lot of riders out here in Scotland right now, as we are at just past the middle point of this race, but really into the fray now. You can see they're scraping the bottom of the barrel out here, Nathan, as it definitely Podza has had a tremendous, and really, I feel like he's leveling up, to tell you the truth. The American here, or one of the Americans on the Wahoo Lacole team. That's a recognizable name for sure, but it looks like they, in combination with, a couple other teams, but Backpedal is coming. Watch out for Myatt here, another very, very dangerous rider, and look at this, how ragged it is on the front right now, Nathan.
Dawson, 7.5 toward the front, sees the opportunity. He was actually not involved in the initial attack here, which gives him a little bit of extra energy in the tank there to try and make this split happen. As he comes across, that's a lot of firepower. Way is also there from WLC. 2 WLC riders getting involved. It is going to be Herman here coming across from the TDL team. Myatt here from Backpedal. We've got Kirchfield from the Dragons. Decker also from Backpedal. Now, the absolute split. This is the make or break moment with this many riders up here. We've already got a Segway performing at the back of this pack here. About 30 or 40 riders here are going here, and this is alarm bells going off for anyone who is not here and involved at this point. The question is, with this many riders, is this going to cause a little bit of dead weight and some sit up here perhaps from this front pack, or are they going to continue on?
Well, exactly as you say that moment happened, Nathan. There's that tipping point. And as these guys now, have they made a selection? They sure have. And I'll be amazed if anybody in Group 2 is able to go from station to station like an astronaut to the space shuttle here, because that's going to be a huge ask. I think that we've taken that group and really just carved off about a third of it here when we look at our front group, and give that man credit. Podza on a fantastic day right now for Wahoo Lacole, and I think they're going to be one of the big winners in the last minute of racing. So you're not going to win the race at over a lap to go out here, but you can significantly increase your chances. It's never going to be a pure numbers game, Nathan, but as they say, quantity has its own quality, right? And having more riders in this group is a huge advantage right now. Let's see, what other teams? I mean, it looks to me like the Dragons are going to be happy. Swedish Swifters have a few up here. So most of the top teams look like they're status quo.
Yeah, it does look like it. WLC, Mutant, TDL, Dragons, Beast Mode, all making it here. Backpedal in this front group as well. Team Italy here with Prodi also making it across. So ESRT, are they represented? That's going to be a big question here, Dave. Has Jean Verme made it into this front group? Is he there? Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I do see the ESRT. There it is with the cap. I love it, how he's using the visor and the little bit of hair on through. I feel like we're watching Wimbledon with the way he's set up.
If they had dropped him, Nathan, every other team would have to go into all hands on deck mode, because getting rid of a sprinter like that opens up some real doors. Here goes Hal Davies, another legend here. It's the first time I've seen his name on the front, and he's going to be setting up his teammate, going to be Dawson. Here we go. This is going to be a huge charge right now, Nathan. We still have over 10Ks of racing remaining, but Wahoo Lacole's going to throw some more cards. They're pushing a lot of chips into the middle of the table right now. What do you think? Does this have the size of this group if they continue to roll it this way? Wahoo Lacole's been relentless out here today.
I would 100% think that Wahoo Cole, with the way that they are riding, they want a rider off the front. I think that this is all about making a break happen here. Dawson onto the attack over and over again. That is his way. He does not want this coming down
Big
through a
counter from
sprint,
Way.
I don't think. Now it does look like backpedal now coming on through. It's going to be Way here on the counter. Nice job. And Dave, Tepo Lorio, has he made the pack? Because he's one of the sprinters here for sure when it comes to Wahoo Lacole. If he's made this group, but the question is, where is Tepo Lorio? Because he's just going to be sitting pretty, I think, rather than getting into these attacks off the front and waiting for that final kick.
Got a flag alert for you, Nathan, for longtime friends in the Zwift community, live community. Gerardo here, the PETA Z rider who can make some watts. The guy's a wattage cottage at 14.2 when he's sprinting. But I don't recognize that flag. I'm going to take a quick look here, but it's such an international sport out here racing in the WTRL. I believe there's around 220 different recognized, UN recognized countries. Mauritius is the country for the P to Z rider. So that's always nice to see a flag, Nathan, that's new to us, or new to me, I should say. So that we'll see if he's up in this front group, because if he is, he's a rider to watch, that's for sure. Looking at the front right now, they are taking out that 20-pound sledgehammer here, Nathan, and just wailing away. It's not just Dawson, and Podza Butler has also been a big part of this. They've put a lot of resources into making this race tough. Now, is it going to pay out for them in the finale, Nathan? That's not an assured thing.
WLC here, 8.4 watts per kilogram toward the front. Again, 3 WLC riders here, all at the front here, smashing this effort at this point.
Jumbo-Visma moment, right?
Exactly. Now Dawson continuing on, and that's what it's really going to be about here at this point, is this continuance up and over the top. The burritos should be popped at this point, and this will be, I think, the race-deciding moments in this final lap, as we've got going to have about 3 different opportunities for these riders, and with these burritos being popped here, maybe going to be able to get some distance. But Becker only at 1.8. I think a lot of energy has been expended in these first couple of laps, and a few riders here second guessing whether or not they really want to try and make something happen. There need to be a setup here through this little turnoff for the Forest in a second here, as it is going to need to be a little bit faster than this to really bring those heart rates up. A couple of extra attacks and some chases here. So I have a feeling, Dave, it's going to come back together, and anything trying to get away through the Forest is going to need to be pretty intense when it comes to that climb. But it is a false flat pretty much all the way through the postcard section, Dave, all the way up to that UCI banner. So this is going to be one of the last opportunities. If not, it's going to be one of those 1K flyers or a sprint to the line.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at a wattage avalanche, to tell you the truth, in this finale, Nathan, and not every guy on your screen is going to make it into that wattage avalanche, but I anticipate 25, 30 riders are going to be there as they roll, and it is just unbelievable to watch the efforts that are made just to stay relevant in these sprints. So Maya, back to the front. We talked about the back pedal being a guy to watch a little bit earlier, and certainly he's living up to that as they're starting to create gaps in this group once again. And Wahoo Lacole, first time we've called EMEA's name today, Nathan. So another one of the Americans on the WLC team has moved to the front. They seem to want to keep the pace incredibly high all day out here. It's not by accident that they've been doing this.
Not one bit. And how many riders do we actually have in this front group that have made it? We're looking at about I think
40,
30,
right?
40, 35 to 40. Yeah, 35 to 40. We'll get some live data on that here in just a second. We'll see the exact numbers. From what I'm seeing here, it looks like 33 riders in total have made it. Wahoo Lacole Dragons have at least 3 riders in this front group. BZR, I'm looking at 2 riders here representing them, with Hans Jacobs as well as Gökhan Osby. P to Z is here, as you had mentioned here, with Goyini Jurado. Goyini Jurado from Mauritius is where he's coming from.
Good for him. Yeah, and making this front group with the 14.2 watts per kilo, Nathan. That's a danger, man. And today again, for those of you joining us, it's awesome to be back. We're racing on Rolling Highlands. Now, this is the first of 6 races, and this is really, I guess there's one minor exception, but basically this is the first time we've ever done this. And an attack from Wahoo Lacole, as it is a race to the finish line, a straight up scratch race out here. We'll be back with points racing and team time trials and all the things that you've come to know and love with WTRL and the ZRL. But Nathan, I got to turn my attention to the front of this bike race as we've got another rider going into hero mode right now.
Hamlet now smashing the pedals. Beast mode trying to go across with him here. Actually, it looks like 2 beast mode riders. Another WLC rider there with Butler. But Butler, it's an interesting move here from Butler. He better not be, if I were the WLC DS, I'd be like, you better not be pulling that pack up. I would be like, let him go here. Beast mode looking to get involved. 3 riders actually with them there. Nice moves here. KM, it looks like, yep, Butler now up and over the top from WLC. Look at the string here, Dave. It is completely strung out, and I think there may be a split happening. If I'm sitting in the pack there and I've got any energy, I am thinking, what can I kick and when? The timing has to be perfect because everybody is absolutely working and the elastic is about to snap.
And Nathan, remember about 20 minutes ago, you were talking about the time to attack is not when everybody feels like they're fresh and they've got the legs to attack. It's when everybody is straight up groveling in the gutter. That's when you attack. Are you willing to go deeper? And are you even willing to risk losing? Because that's what it's going to take to win out of this group. But it's also, looking at it now, teams like Wahoo Lacole, they've worked really hard to get this group whittled down. They've got the numbers in this group, and it is going to be decided by. So this is a points-based series. It's not an Omnium. It's not a GC-based stage race. It's not based on time. So today it's going to be decided on the points, but only points at the finish line. A lot of times we'll have intermediate sectors or sprints where points can be earned or lost. And in this case, it is all in for the finish today. The one and only time we've done this.
Yeah. Well, I think there was a couple of people in the chat. There was 1 or 2 others a long time ago. It was not.
And
go ahead, Dave.
And it happened by default almost, didn't it? It wasn't even meant intentionally to be a scratch race. It's just that there were no bonuses or something in a points race. Along those lines, right?
So, but yeah, this is the first one in quite a while here. So quite a while.
This is a points race with only points at the finish, if you want to look at it that way.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Which we will have league standings to be able to look at here at the end of the race. We will be jumping across to the women's race in just a moment here. We had a little bit of struggle getting across with one of our other broadcast
burritos well used, Nathan.
Here, but Dawson now, Hamlet, Beast mode.
Yeah, you love this.
WLC, Butler, everybody in the orange numbers, as you can see here. Butler now 8 watts per kilogram. Podline looking to come across as well. But Dawson continues on. He's got the speed, 52 kilometers per hour. Let's make it. Now, Hamlet, was that a fake out to slow everybody down? Is that what happened?
No, it was a burrito play. It was a burrito play. Perfectly done.
He put the burrito in between everybody. Is that what went on there? That was amazing.
Yes. He set himself up and used the burrito. This is Zwiftcraft. This is the gameplay that we love. Now, steering is not activated.
There it is. A little bit of a replay. Look at this.
See what I'm saying?
Amazing. That was amazing. Like,
put yourself in between your teammate, and you could see that Dawson was using his burrito, but behind him, that second burrito from Paul was just perfectly used to put everybody behind the 8 ball.
Look at what they did.
That's how you play this game, baby.
I've never seen it before. A burrito
turns off draft
there
for 20 seconds. Right. It's a cone shape behind the riders. You can't see it, but it turns off the draft for 20 seconds. You can see how perfectly they played the game. Well done. That's why Wahoo Lacole is one of the lions in this sport. They're one of the top 3 teams in esports history.
Well, they did get caught here. They were brought back together. But it was a good effort though. They really
absolutely.
I haven't seen it executed like that in, I don't know, ever. I'm not sure if I've ever seen in a high end race it executed so well.
They're putting on a clinic. out here today. Now, again, I guess clinics usually have to end with a victory, right? So if it's going to be a complete clinic that you're paying for, they're going to win this race as a team because this is a team-based sport as well. Some folks, Nathan, are going to be just joining us for the first time as we welcome everyone back from an extended summer break here. But with the points that we're talking about is they are now down to 3.5 kilometers of racing, there or thereabouts, big group together. All that work from Wahoo Lacole, Nathan, hasn't netted them necessarily anything other than some tired legs. But with all these efforts, they've got to be feeling a little ragged as well out here. But another attack going clear. Back on the gas is Wahoo Lacole.
Looks like Myatt here from Backpedal sitting in steady. See, I'm going to get a little bit of a view here of who all is still involved here real quickly. It looks like the main group now, 32 riders. They did drop one off through what we call the postcard section there. Michael Podsline, Gokan Osby, Hans Jacobs all up toward the front, Nicholas Derritt, Paul Hamlet, Ben Muir is here, Chris Hoffman. We do see Simon Myatt, as we had said, from Backpedal. Amongst these riders here, on the average watts per kilogram given to this race so far, the lowest is going to be Rick Van Aert, I believe, at 3.9 watts per kilogram and making this front group still. Dave, that's a very high, low number, isn't it? Yeah, and what I'm wondering about that is, does he got a kick? Because if he's put out 3.9 from Wahoo Lacole, and Wahoo Lacole's been off the front. He's
their designated guy, right? That's what you
can throw 13.78, 1,239 watts for 15 seconds.
He's done just enough to make this group, which his team has really been dictating, but they've never gone so hard that they dropped him. And you said 13.8 for him?
I think it was something like that, 13.9. But in raw wattage, he's up in the 1200s. He's in the 1200s in just raw wattage. Exactly.
Wow.
So,
and this is a sprint that would suit someone who's making monster watts. So that's a very good catch, Nathan. Here we are on one of the biggest ramps that we see out here in Scotland. Taking a look at this group, this is where you're going to see some guys, it gets grippy. Riders being dropped right now. The action's at the front. The guys in back are in trouble, punching tickets like an evil conductor right now. You can really, really see how pack dynamics have changed, Nathan. See how much less churning is going on? Significantly less churning.
100%. So as we head into the final few K here, we've got about 1.5K to go, Dave. This is it. As we head to the line, 32 riders coming to the line. Who's going to take the win? It's going to be SCR. It's going to be Beast Mode. Beast Mode been just covering and killing over and over again. Do they have the big sprinters to show up here today as they have tried to set this one up for a final kick to the line over the top of the breakaway Brave? But it's going to be that 1K to go move here or so from Koff from Mutant off the front. This could be the upset if nobody wants to make the chase, Dave. Beast Mode now to the front at 6.5. There it's been the man who's been closing everything down for them. KM at 5.3. But into the orange numbers, Dave, this is the situations that we've talked about with 4.1. This is where somebody could get away as the roll through speed is just not there. The churn is not there, but they're going to gallop in a moment. Koff's got to be all in.
Yeah, this is going to be a really good example of exactly that, how pack dynamics really benefit the Brave, and Koff is taking advantage of that. So he's going to roll the dice. I mean, Nathan, they're going to run out of real estate pretty quickly. They're not getting that huge roll through that we used to see. Again, this is going to be touch and go now. It looks like they're starting to split the front of the chase here. This thing is on like Donkey Kong at this point. Nathan, can it be a historic solo breakaway win? This would really make the Zwift engineers happy to see someone show this kind of heart, because right now this man is absolutely bearing himself. And Nathan, I think he just might do it. It is certainly possible.
12 watts per kilogram coming from Davies. Davies is going to come right to the line, Dave, but I think they're going to do it. They're going to catch him, it looks like here, and the speed is just too much. Butler through from the WLC to the line. The feathers are popped, and WLC's on the front. Can there be a come around from Wyankamp from the Dragons? 1,034 watts to the line. Takes it down ahead of Osby, Worm, Kirchfield. That's your top four.
Well, so we watched a very interesting day of racing, ladies and gentlemen, as Nathan Wahoo Lacole made huge efforts out here to impact the finale, and these teams didn't take the bait. They were able to remain in contention and then strike when it mattered, and I would say that backfired. just a little bit out here today. Shows you how competitive this group is going to be. It is unbelievable to see the parity that we've got. And Wahoo Lacole, one of the strongest and most well-organized teams, is now going to find that this is not going to be a cakewalk.
100%. Well, look at that. Dragons showing up. We said, watch out for them. New team on the block showing up out here today. WLC, they threw everything at this race. Seriously, Dave, over and over again. Walk us through, though, here real quickly, Dave, as we come to the line. WC tried to make it happen, but there's a kick from perfect timing, I think, coming from the Dragons there.
Yeah, and Butler was right there for Wahoo Lacole. This is where the dream died, unfortunately, but all credit to Koff there, the TNT rider. But as he gets caught now, you just got to stay on the gas and try to use that draft to get as many points as you can for your team. But this surge right here, Nathan, that is something special. Look at the watts being made by Weinenkamp here, the Dragon, this German team emerging. Now, we saw them racing this summer, but this was and again, credit to where it's due is they put in their work, they refine their tactics and techniques, and they get a huge one. Welcome to the big time esports racing for the Dragons.
Nicely done there. And as you can see, we can get a little bit of idea of where things finish it up as Podsline, it looks like coming through for fifth. Davies, Way. We'll get some official here in just a moment.
Which is not bad. I mean, it is team-based, right? So we'll be looking down through the provisional, results to see. Because if you can get a bunch of guys up in the top 15, you don't have to win this race to be the top team. Winning certainly helps when you look at the points table, but it is going to be about really getting 3 guys into the top 10, which it looks like they very well may have done.
Yeah, real quickly here, I'm going to run through these real quick, Dave, and we're going to jump right into the last lap of the women's race. Again, apologies that we weren't able to get the coverage there for the women's up front on our second Zwift as it was not functioning, but we do have the race. We are bringing in their last lap ASAP. Leonard Weinkamp, though, for the Dragons RT, presented by Subweb. It's going to be John Worm there for the unknown ESRT. It's going to be Gokhan Osbey there for the Belgian Zwift Riders. Klaus Kurtzfield for Dragons as well. Angus Butler for Wahoo Lacole Mavericks. Iwell Davies for Wahoo Lacole Old Boys Club, and that's why they were fighting out there a little bit, Dave. There's 2 racers. What the? Look at this. Wahoo Lacole Mavericks, Stuart Way, Chris Dawson, and Hugit Viron. All WLC, but they're splitting it up a little bit. WLC are in black, and WLC are in the purplish blue. So that were the 2 separate kits that we saw out there today.
And the Dragons, though, with first and fourth, Nathan, and knowing the structure of the points table, that, from a thumbnail sketch, it certainly looks like they had their day. But Wahoo Lacole, that's a lot of Wahoo Lacole, isn't it? Up there, spots 5 through 10, but splitting amongst 2 squads. But Nathan, thanks again. I know how hard you work to get this coverage, and as we get things going again, it's not only going to be Pack Dynamics 4.1, but always these changes. So I know you've worked hard to get this women's coverage, so I don't want to stand in the way of that. But congratulations to all of our men. What a great way to start the season. We'll have a chance to go back, and you can always go to WTRL.racing to see the most up-to-date results and scoring from today and all of the racing around the world.
Katie Hill, Aeonian off the front as we join the women for their final lap. We did want to have complete, again, we looked to have parity of coverage. We had 2 separate Zwifts up. One of them was struggling a little bit to get us across to the race, and so I apologize. We will look to, for the women's central, to look to cover them up front as best as we possibly can. Now, we do have, it looks like Katie Hill, though, she's making a move here for Aeonian. Aeonian, Dave, one of the best-known teams in the world, currently with the reigning world champion, I think, still riding for them with Lois Adegeist. I'm not sure if she's out here currently with us today, but be on the watch out for this Katie Hill. I think this is a newer rider. I'm not familiar with the name, but maybe a pickup here for Aeonian coming into this next season.
Yeah, out of the United Kingdom, talking about Katie Hill, talking about Lois Adegeist. I mean, she's been winning at some of the biggest races on the planet, and she's still part of the Aeonian family. It's Jamie Lee Wright is out here racing today. Barbara Frisch on that team. But Nathan, this is some of the biggest names in esports in this field. As I see, Beast Mode comes with a strong squad again. Pearl Zimmerman, Valkenhorst, and Maria Marb. But I think I'm bearing the lead, to tell you the truth, because Team Swedish Swifters, they're another one of the super teams, exactly like Aeonian. Nathan, one of the strongest teams, not only now, but throughout the history of esports racing, really going back to 2016, 17, right in there. But Hill certainly making her name out here, but turning our attention, you can see that white and blue kit. That's going to be Swedish Swifters. Anna Spadstrom is a mega racer.
100%. Swedish Swifters, be on the watch out for them. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think 4 or 5 riders that have made this front group, and they do like to bring it down to a final kick to the line a lot of times. It looks like they're covering and killing anything that tries to get away out here. Going to really quickly here. It looks like Jelstrom from the ESRT team, she made quite the valiant effort, it looks like, but is now off the back. Helen McKay also from Roca there, as well as it looks like Frechter. They're going to work together to try and maybe rein in Zjelstrom as they're just off the back here around the 20th or 21st place here. So great job to them. I just want to highlight some of the riders here that were a part of the main pack here up until just moments ago when these final kicks into the last lap. But it looks like, Dave, 15, 16 riders making this front group now for the women for that final kick. I have a feeling we're going to have a couple of late attacks, though, here as we come through the postcard section.
That's what you call a select group, no doubt, Nathan. Is Proust here? She's my danger woman today, the hexagon rider. It's great to see that they've added a woman's team as well. There's Erin Ayala, the Revo rider, who is a tremendous talent. Riders dumping that burrito right now as well. So we can talk about the power-ups as most folks would have been following along, but the feather and burrito, we saw a very interesting moment in the previous men's race with the execution of a tactic that the Wahoo Lacole team using the burritos here. I wouldn't be too surprised if the Swedish Swifter squad, who are very astute, they are always up to speed on the latest and greatest things going on. No steering is being used here, but Zwift Play would be activated. Nathan, steering, though, we're still not quite at that point, as right now we do look at this front group here. And yeah, I'm really wondering who's the biggest danger women, because Swedish Swifters have, well, Anna Fast Berglund. She's super talented and touch on 11 watts per kilo, but Hannah Dannel, also, Nathan, huge talent. She goes over 11 watts per kilo, but the French rider on Hexagon is going to be their biggest danger woman, but she has to be in this group, and I am looking, that's Proust is the rider that I'm talking
Proust
about.
With that 11.9. She's got a good kick. She's got a real good kick.
This group, though.
She hasn't made it? I thought she did.
I don't.
Yeah, right
I'm
here.
trying to find
right here. I
there we go.
Malene.
There we go.
There we go.
Good.
She has made it. And
She's
solo. And, you know, some of these other teams that do have the numbers, Dave, their goal right at this point, they don't have a rider with 11.0.
They don't have to win the
10
race.
watts per kilogram. They need to kick, right? They need to, good point. There's a lot of points up here. At the same time, if you want the win across the line, you send a few up the road and make Malene and the others work a little bit, I would think, right? I mean, at least I would try and distance myself from any sprinter at this point.
You know, Nathan, as they say, you can't change a Jaguar's spots or Tiger's stripes, whatever it might be. Racers are going to race for the win. And that's a big part of why they do esports, is for that competitive energies that come with being in sport, pure sport. And when it comes down to a sprint, it's all in for these riders. And right now, I'm just doing the math. And I'm looking at how many Swedish Swifters are in this group, and you would expect them to put 3 in the top 7. To tell you the truth, I think that would be my threshold for anything less than 3 in the top 7 from these women. They are so experienced. I mean, we've seen them through the Zwift Grand Prix, through all of the years, and this really goes back to, I'm going to say 2020 is when this team came into its full stride. Does that sound about right to you?
Yeah, I think. Team. With
SZ,
Team SZ, yeah, I think a lot of the teams really started to show up in force around then, and I think SC. Here's the thing about SC. SC is one of the longest standing teams in existence. I mean, SCR and SZ, two separate teams at this point, but
Aeonian a little newer.
A little newer, and there's a lot of split offs that have happened as well. And so you have SZ, which then becomes SCR, SZ, and ESRT, all mainly Swedish teams. And that goes to show you the depth within the Sweden teams. And Heino with some Swedish riders in there as well.
Right.
Now,
I
I
even
don't think in existence any longer. One of the
no,
longest
they're
standing
not.
esports team, most dominant at the highest level of the sport, but we still have a lot of those riders existing amongst the community and killing it still.
Yeah, they dispersed, didn't they, amongst a whole bunch of teams. But I would say that Heino had a good few Swedish riders that are actually in this race right now. And that's the evolution of esports racing that we've seen. And we're really in a good spot right now in this world. And I'm really, really excited to see what this season holds for us. We're out on race number 1. If you're just joining us, racing in the newest Zwift world, the freshest world, Scotland. Rolling Highlands is the course, an extremely popular course with racers, and I think you can see why. As we're back with Katie Hill here, the Aeonian rider, and I do believe you're correct, Nathan, a pickup for that team. If there's always going to be the roster shuffles that we see, and even more importantly, riders who are new to esports who come in. The Roca Corba team, that's a nice squad to highlight as well. This is Ashley Mulman-Pacio's team that she put together. Roca Corba, a world-famous climb right outside in Spain. And let's see how many riders they've got. That familiar pink jersey from the Roca Corba ladies. Looks like one, though, in this group.
2K to go, 2K to go. Last time through the corkscrew here for the ladies. A lot of SZ on the front. Now Roca Corba coming through with Kate McCarthy, though. Now McCarthy making her way to the front. That's going to be Kate McCarthy coming out of New Zealand on the front here. Riding for Roca Corba here in the ZRL. She's also a part of the Hamilton City CC, it looks like, a crossover at Zwift Power. But now Svardstrom now taking over. This is going to be 1.5K to go with the setup. The initial kick over the corkscrew. Now they're going to all be sitting in. I think a lot of these ladies are just thinking about the sprint at this point. Nobody taking that risk we were talking about, Dave. A little bit different here in the women's race. Everybody just setting up for a kick.
Yeah, and they won't have watched. They were well into their race as we were watching the men in their finale. But I think that you're correct. It doesn't look like anybody wants to roll that dice. It really is just positioning right now. You want to get up near the front, but not completely on the front. If you're talking about the Pack Dynamics 4.1, here comes Aeonian. You can see the lime green and blue kit, but a surge up the middle. Here we go. So entering finale mode. Is I going to see the red kite any moment now? Starts to string things out. We're going to find out who the real fast women are out here, Nathan. Swedish Swifters now lining this one up.
Oh, Kent here. Dave, I was mistaken about the hexagon. Kent has swapped over. She was an Electric Spirit co-rider here, but she's actually riding for Hexagon now. So Hexagon actually with 2 riders in here. Proust has got a lead out here, it looks like, if she wants to be given it here from Kent. Kent now, and they matter now in 4.1. Off the front, though. Team from the Netherlands, it looks like on the front, that's going to be Rigsdal now. SZ here with Angstrom. Is this going to be layout for Kent? Kent now ramping things up here for Proust. It looked like Proust right on the wheel. Here come the further power-ups, Dave. It's going to be on the front, though, Proust. 8 watts per kilogram. It's going to be Zano. Zanin here with the kick here. Rigsdal, Zanin with, she's got her 1 second gap. Will she hold on?
Feather played perfectly on this 5%, 6% grade. It's going to make a big difference. That might be it for her. They run out of real estate quickly. I thought Proust was perfectly positioned, Nathan. Will they run out of real estate here? Finish line's going to be agonizingly far away as they do close down gaps incredibly quickly. She's unbelievably strong here, Nathan.
Yeah, and it looks like Zanin might be able to hold on to it here. One last kick from Proust. Proust, 10 watts per kilogram, 10 watts per kilogram. Will she be able to come through? Here it is. I think Proust is going to do it. Just at the line. No! It's actually Zanin holding on, and that goes to show you the kicks don't matter quite as much through the pack. There isn't quite as much speed to roll through, and everybody caught by surprise by the woman from the Netherlands here, Zanin Riksdal. Zanin, watch out for her, as she is a new kid on the block, that is for sure. As Proust looks to come on through, Kent tried to do the lead out. It was just too much for him.
I literally just wrote that name down in pen, Nathan. That is Ragna van Rikstel Zanen that we're talking about on Team NL, who completely shocks the esport world. And I thought that Proust had her dead to rights, as Proust was still in that group. You saw that surge from Proust, so impressive. She brought it down to the point where it looked like the catch was imminent, but then a final surge, and it really showed you that heart is a huge part of being successful in esports, Nathan. You can't look inside an athlete to see what kind of heart they have. And I tell you what, she just showed us with this command performance out here. Again, congratulations, breakthrough star here this morning or today. Ragna van Riksdal Zanen, Team NL taking the outright win Hexagon had a couple riders, I think, in the top 10, certainly one in the top 10 with Proust, but did Swedish Swifters stack enough cordwood, wattage cordwood up there in the top 10 to take enough points to be our top team? Is again, that's the end game.
Yeah, as you can see, the hold off there here, Proust here, just that last second turn.
Huge.
It was just a little late, just a tad late, as you can see here. I think she thought that the roll through was going to be similar to what we've seen in the past. And this is a rider. I mean, these riders, they've got a ton of experience, Dave. I mean, years and years of experience. And I think the little bit of changes now are starting to bite them a little bit if they haven't done the work. You've got to do the work. You got to do the research when it comes to your homework, that is. There might be plenty of work in the legs at this point, but that does not mean you know how the game is currently functioning.
Yeah, I mean, you can research and learn Zwift play and get 20 bonus watts just by knowing what's going on out here at times. Nathan, I'm looking at that finish again and seeing a lot of Swedish Swifters up there. And if they're taking spots 3, 4, 6, 7, that kind of thing, that numbers game does come into play. As today, as we talked about during the broadcast, our first ever official scratch race where it was just we dropped the flag at the start. They raced for the points at the finish. So we'll see how the teams were able to combine their efforts together, but great. Looks like results coming in right now. Congratulations to the Dutch rider here as Ragnar van Rixtelzanen taking it for Sports Solid, Team NL. It's going to be Marlene Proust for Hexagon. Oh, and Electric Spirit Co. There we go. So merging those two programs. There, I like to see that. Also, Fast Bergland in for Swedish Swifters in third. Anna Svardström fourth. Maria Marb in fifth, the German for beast mode. So they get up there. Wendy Mathy for Aeolian taking sixth. It's going to be Cornelia Engstrom for Swedish Swifters in seventh. That might be the difference maker, Nathan. It's the Roca Corba Collective Elite rider Kate McCarthy has a great debut here with eighth, the rider from New Zealand. All the stars are missing because of the circle on the flag, but I think that's New Zealand. I thought you said that too for the Roca Corba Elite team.
It is.
Yeah, okay. that circle doesn't do me any favors when it's Australia, New Zealand. So Caroline Augustin of the Aquila ESRT team in ninth, and then Jenny Pearl in 10th here. That was great racing. Nathan, thanks for making the extra effort to catch that. I know it would have been easy for any other esports commentator producer to just bail out because it wasn't easy, but you always hang in there.
We made it happen. We made it happen, and we will be jumping in with the women's and the men's for our next broadcast, which is the Central. We are in with the Central and the East. The East for the men and the Central for the women. But we are going to take a quick break, about a 3-minute break or so, and be right back with you for our next broadcast of these two races. And then we still got America's to come later tonight. All of our broadcasts are linked over on zwiftpower.com that you want to cover. So for America's, if you didn't check out and get your notification for that, go hit that live stream for just a moment here. We'll be back in 3 minutes, 3-minute break real quickly. And then we'll begin with our East Division and Central for the women. And we're back. We're jumping right on into our race number 3 of our coverage today. It is going to be the men's Open East A. And as we are covering as much as we possibly can across many of the racers across the entirety of the EMEA, we will do our absolute best to go across categories as well. We really do want to give you as much coverage as we possibly can for everybody that's out there throwing down their races. So, and if you are in chat and you have showed up, let us know. Let us know what race that you're a part of. Let us know how your race is going, what your experience has been. We'd love to know. We'd love to hear about it. And we'll even be looking to highlight some of the comments that come on through about what you think about this course, what you think the best moves that you experience out in this course as well. We love the interaction with the community. So far, though, Dave, what do you think of the racing so far in Rolling Highlands? I thought we would have perhaps a couple of more breakaways stick, but this high-end A racing, man, it's been really difficult to make anything really happen.
I give it a 10 out of 10 on the racing. And certainly, I'm with you. You know, we've talked a lot in the previous broadcast about the new Pack Dynamics 4.1 being introduced. Seems awesome to me. And you're right, though. I did expect breakaways, but the reason I don't think we saw that many breakaways had nothing to do with Pack Dynamics and more to do with the high level of the fields. They made many attempts. I mean, especially on the men's side of things. Even on the women's, though, some of the dominant teams tried to soften up the front group, and they did drop some riders, but not as many as what we would have seen in the past. More riders keeping their heads above water, being there to be competitive. So this is the best racing that we've ever seen in the ZRL. And it doesn't hurt that we've got this new world in Scotland and this great course featuring segments like Breakaway Bray. And we will see a breakaway win today. I'd bet dollars to donuts on that, or dollars to croissants, depending where you are in the world.
You got
Not
croissants?
Sure.
You have croissants to
Not
bet?
here. No.
Do you have any croissants to bet? I need some croissants to
bagel.
bet. I'm not, if there were any croissants to bet in this house, they'd be gone. They've already
They'd be gobbled up.
The bet
Yeah.
the bet is in the legs. The bet is already in the legs. If there's croissants that enter this house, that's kind of a joke in house here, actually, about croissants. How do how are we supposed to say this? So should we pull a Pajay here, a Pojakar here, and like give our best at saying croissant? Like, how do you say croissant?
I've had many times in my life that this has come up, including
Really?
with good old Amy.
Really?
Oh, yes. And like the harder you try to say it like you're French, the weirder
Croissant.
you sound.
Croissant.
Yes, croissant, I think, is like crescent roll, something in close to that. But either way, you're going to need to have a few of them in your belly to have the watts needed, the calories needed to put a good effort out here. So Nathan, power-ups today, feather and burrito. We've seen the burrito used to an effect that I've never seen before. We've talked about retooling from our friends at Zwift, and man, I want to give a shout-out to all the Zwift engineers and our friends back there that make this possible, because it's fun to see the improvements in real time happening out here. But the burrito power-up, it seems like it's got a whole new zhuzh to it.
Yeah, it gives a lot more. That's for sure. I think when it comes to this new Pack Dynamics, really effective because things already do spread out a little bit. Lead-ins are done. It was pretty calm on the lead-in here for the Open East as we jump right on in. As you were just mentioning just a moment ago, burritos open over the top. They do collect one through that banner. I am seeing Ed Laverick here from Backpedal showing up. Be on the watch out for him as he goes Ed mode, perhaps. Out of any rider out here today that you can predict that he's going to try and make a move, it's going to be Ed Laverick. This guy does not want it to come down to a sprint one bit.
100%. If there was 110%, I'd say that. But Nathan, let me counter that for you, as Fabian Davola is here as well. So I know that he's going to be in the mix at some point. There are some real heavy hitters in this field as we send our open category out on course. But you're right. I mean, if you've got a well-known hashtag Ed mode, as Mr. Laverick does on the Backpedal team here, I'd say that you've arrived into the pantheon of eSport greats.
Yep. And taking a look here, it looks like they're using the gray in-game kit at this point. So that's going to be, I believe they're using the 100-kilometer unlock, I think, from what I'm seeing here. Yeah, that is going to be the 100-kilometer unlock. The full black is the 100-mile unlock. So that's going to be the kit to watch out for the Backpedal Backpedal team. They've got a good team showing up out here today as we take a look through. And you can always find all this information actually over at zwiftpower.com. If you're ever wondering, and you're wondering where are we getting this information and how do we know so much about these riders, etc., head on over to zwiftpower.com. You can actually see the live data coming on through over there as well. So it's a really great resource for everything racing when it comes to Zwift. But for today, No Pins R3R. They've shown up in force. D-Pack Elite are out here in this race. Fusion Development, Team RWB are here today as well. Sisu Racing have got a big contingent, so be on the watch out for them. But Laverick here, now as we're taking a look, he's got plenty of riders here from Backpedal also looking to make some moves.
Yeah, so, I mean, when you come into a race like Ed Laverick, you've got a huge X on your back as all of the riders who've been paying attention in Esports. You can see the Welsh flag and Ed right there sitting in the top 12 riders right now. Pretty well positioned, to tell you the truth. Although, as he's on the edge here, Nathan, we've talked about how there's not as much draft. That's a good example. If you've been listening, you know the rider Ed that we're talking about is now moving up to, actually he's being passed by a few riders, but sitting over there on the racer's right-hand side right now. But taking a look, it looks like a bit of a shift happening here. That's going to be Zed's son with the red shorts, white and black, another accomplished team. And I feel like there's some movement happening right now, some organization of maybe an early attack. And we talked about the three sectors: Cliffs Climb, the Corkscrew Castle Climb, and of course Breakaway Bray. These are the areas. And yeah, it's definitely activating, Nathan.
100%. Now, we do have a question coming through here, and this is a great question, actually, from Danny Enzo over on YouTube. And I really like this question, actually, wondering, have you ever seen a team do a burrito breakaway, like a TTT line where the back rider is the only one to use the burrito as where that? I think we have seen a BL13 move similar to that, haven't we, Dave? There has been one that was, I'm not sure it succeeded, but we have seen riders do something similar.
One, Danny, I like where your head is at, for sure. And I think that that's something that we will see. That BL13, it was a team time trial breakaway, but it wasn't burrito involved, if I remember correctly. I don't even know if that power-up existed back. I think it was 2021 when we saw it. It was one of the greatest moments in
existed, but it was, I'm not sure it was an area of effect. It wasn't an area of effect at the time, so it played a little bit differently at that moment.
And certainly the concept of having your riders as they rotate to the back of the group, deploying the burrito, that disruptive power-up. And I should mention, burrito turns off draft for 20 seconds. The other power-up today is feather, which is a 10% reduction of your weight for 30 seconds. But what we saw really was basically, it was Chris Dawson of Wahoo Lacole using one of his teammates as basically a human shield, putting up a burrito in between him and the chase, which it didn't work effectively, but it was an interesting moment. It certainly shows the craftiness of these riders.
100%. Laverick now making a little bit of a move, and we can actually show a replay of that in a little bit here of exactly what went down just a little while ago. Actually, Dan, we had something where somebody did exactly that. Not a full TTT off the front, but something a little bit similar. But it looks like Laverick's starting to make his moves, and a lot of people look toward the corkscrew. A lot of people look toward the breakaway Bray. My opinion, the forest
cliffs.
And this postcard, these cliffs, this is the section really. And you can see already here, Laverick has instigated what looks to be a 20-man break or so off the front already. And the chase is on behind here as this is a danger moment as Backpedal has put the pedal to the metal.
And look at the group stringing out, and there's a lot of riders taking on water like the Titanic at the back of the group right now. And I don't know that everybody recovers, as this is going to be a big, big moment. You're not going to win the race right now, but Nathan, you certainly could lose it. So very quickly, they're out on their first of three proper circuits out here at 8.9K each. They do have a chance to reload their power-ups here. That's Swift. Look at this move come from the middle of the group, Nathan. Here comes an attack. So that's how you do it, using the group to get up to speed, but just as he hits the front, you can see, just like in real life, the wind smack in his face. A block headwind there puts him right back in. So he must have just been looking to get some positioning. You can see there a feather power up. So weight reduction now for 30 seconds.
He doesn't stop. He just continues on and continues on. It's not going to stop here from here on out. I think Ed has shown up, and he has been on fire in real life as well. He's been doing these hill climb competitions again and again and again. I saw him training throughout the entirety of the spring into the summer for these, taking on Alp to Zwift after Alp to Zwift. And this guy, he can go for a solid 6 to 7 watts per kilogram for quite a long time. He is looking to break things, and they know it in the pack here as D-Pack with Morgan, Pettinger, Thomas, Rice, Kenny, all of them on the front here trying to just claw this back, and Laverick is making them throw down all the nitrous oxide at this point on the first lap, Dave, of 3.
As the great Reggie Miller says, boom, baby. I love the Peloton striking back. Ed Laverick, who is an undeniable esports superstar. He unlocked Legend Code long ago. Nathan, in the old days, he would have opened up a 30-second gap. Not quite that quickly, but he would be sitting 15 seconds up. This group is able to respond. It shows you the depth and the quality of this field. Look at Pasqualini here from the MTNT team. He looks extremely strong. Pettinger, that's a D-Pack rider, looking good. So, Nathan, these guys have really, it's not that Ed Laverick isn't, I would say, even 5% stronger than the last time we saw him. It's that all of these guys are stronger. They've been doing their work, and they're coming in, obviously, with some of them with great form. We hit the reset button here. This is what it's all about. ZRL, it's good to be back.
And as we jump in here to the front, Mutant here making the cover and kill with Fawcett coming out of the UK. It's going to be Loudon, Will Loudon. From No Pins R3R, look at this kit that they're wearing in here. They're using
Sharp.
that 2022 Zwift Academy kit. Nice
sharp.
here. Absolutely loving it. 2 guys, D-Pack now to the front as well. That's the 3
That's
on
my
the front
kind of kit.
here.
That's my kind of kit, Nathan, to tell you
Look
the
at
truth.
the pack.
That-
Look at this
style.
Peloton, Dave. 1,
Yeah, well,
2,
there's a
3
split.
different packs.
Yep, and let's see if this is going to come. They're going to meld this back together like 2 bottles of ketchup in Alice's Diner. That becomes one bigger bottle of ketchup. But I don't know that next group comes back, Nathan, to tell you the truth. If they press on right here, let's see, because they're not right now. But I have a feeling some teams are going to. Here comes Zed's son. That's the team in black and white and red there.
Yeah, and it looks like
Nope,
Zed's
it's
son to the
R3R.
front. To the front here, looks like as we do to come on through the
2 laps to
corkscrew.
go.
Yeah, it's
2
going
to
to be
go.
2 in a second here. 2 in a second here for sure. Just Daniel here. This is interesting. Now, I thought that I saw the Daniel name twice out there, both coming out of Sweden. So it's interesting to see. I wonder if they make a switch up between. I'm going to see if they can let us know in chat here because I have a feeling that they make a switch up between their setups, which is one of the coolest things when you do see Zwifters within the same household sharing across to get their races in. I did see Daniel here for the OUT team here coming out of Sweden just a moment ago.
I was going to ask you about OUT. This is a new team to me. Have you seen them this summer?
I have seen them a couple of times, and I think that they are a new name to an old school team out of Sweden. Yep, and so we have highlighted them once or twice before, but they definitely a new name to a very old school team that's been out here on Zwift for quite a while, especially with Daniel on there, as he actually has done some of his own broadcasts in the past, from what I remember, and a very good leader when it comes to that community.
Well, I'm going to request that my friends and colleagues at the WRAP, a Zwift Community Live broadcast from the Zwift Community Live joint, that they research that and cover the out team for me. I want to know what's going on. So can you get one of your...
We're gonna have to look into that. We'll look into that for you for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So anytime I look at a kit, I always now wonder, what does Anna Russell think? So, you guys are big influencers out there. That's every Thursday, by the way. If you haven't been watching, I highly recommend it. Super enjoyable content right here on this channel. So, Nathan, they did drop a bunch of riders. You can see, guys, there's a second, a couple chase groups are coming together. Let's see if they can fight back. That's always been one of the astounding things about the heart that you see from our esports racers, their ability to never give up out here. But this group is now full gas, no question. They are motoring right now. So I wouldn't expect that anybody shows up knocking on the back door here as they continue to push the pace. Again, another Welsh rider. This time it's going to be Jones on the D-Pack Elite team that's making things tough on everybody here.
And we did see Hagen here from No Pinsar 3R making his way backwards. It's going to be Niall here from Backpedal, 183 beats per minute on the attack. at 100. It looks like 6.7 watts per kilogram. Hagen, no pins R3 are chasing him down. Wiley from ART, he was on the front there. That Atom Racing team, love their new kit. Actually, they've got the molecular structure of an atom actually on their kit. It looks like I'm liking this. This is a pretty cool looking new kit with the black and red. Just recently noticing them actually a lot in games, so it looks like they've shown up with a little bit of style and look good, feel good, go fast, right, Dave?
Yeah, going nuclear, as they say, right? So now we're taking a look here at a group that's not letting itself be whittled down here. These guys look pretty confident of their position as we come through, really moving into the second phase of this race. Tron bike here, or the concept bike.
Have we got a little bit of a split? 40 riders, it looks like 40, 45 riders, I have a feeling. There is one off the back here at this point as they're going to make their way over into the forest. There's going to be 2 laps to go. 2 laps to go within this European East Open 1As. And all back together, a little bit calmer, It looks like. WLC, without having them hanging out here in and amongst the pack. We saw lots of attacks from them. Yeah, I think it looks like so far backpedal really the only ones. ART made a little bit of a push here, but everybody else, it looks like keeping it chill. In our preview with Cy Bradley, he was chatting a lot about it being mainly going to be a sprint out here today, I think. And so I wonder if perhaps that influences a little bit as whether or not people are going to try and attempt anything.
Yeah, I watched that same Cy Bradley video and thought he does a great job. He's part of the Zwift Insider, our friend Eric Schlange, who's just a legend, no question. So thanks to them as well for helping keep everybody informed. It looks like Zedson, Nathan, that's going to be Taff here, is starting to push the pace a little bit, just trying to lift the energy in this group. It's a relatively large group at this point, I would say. As a matter of fact, I think most people would agree that this course does, as racers get aggressive out here, we see it whittle down, and I expect a little bit more of that. But right now, everybody looking relatively chill. I mean, sitting under 5 watts per kilo. Well, there you go. You start to feel it lift.
Yeah, Willie continues to try and press the pace a little bit here. Rice here from Tugas. It looks like Ben Jones is also right on his wheel from Deepak Elite. Morgan. Looks like Deepak Elite are really interested in covering and killing moves here. They haven't really let anything go, but we don't see them on any kind of an attack or anything like that. What we've mainly seen from Deepak so far, from what I've seen, is just making sure that everybody's under control. Do they have a big sprinter out here that they're looking to try and support?
Reading my mind. Yeah, absolutely reading my mind, Nathan, because the way that they're racing leads you to believe that that's exactly what the tactic and technique and ultimate end game would be for that team. And if that's the case, they're riding well. Let's remember this moment when we get to the finale, and that's going to be, a little more than 20 minutes from now. But at that point, it'll be interesting to see if it all pays off for Deepak. They've done a really good job of controlling the front end of this bike race, unlike what we saw earlier, which was just mayhem, chaos in the previous open race here. This one has been a little more reasonable, although when you watch moments like this, Niall, the back pedal rider, opening up 3 seconds, it starts to get a little bit spicy.
Yeah, Niall here, he's, they're most likely, it looks like with 3 seconds coming from him at this point, I have a feeling that back pedal.
Hot. Yeah.
No, at 2 watts, at 2 seconds here, 253 watts now at this point. Someone. Yeah, essentially. I'm not sure that this is going to necessarily get away, but I think backpedal here are just going to keep sending people off the front till something sticks and counter as much as they possibly can. As you can see, Laverick here now coming through the pack, 8.7 watts per kilogram. I have a feeling that this is going to be all about the setup for a counter move.
Well, that burrito tells me exactly that. There's no draft now. Still a long way from the finish is Niall. I do think that he went up there and said, hey, if a couple people want to come and join me, we can get a breakaway going. But that didn't happen. Is this long strung out group now? Well, not quite strung out, is it? But it looks like they are injecting some pace here. Well, you know how you can tell that, Nathan? Look at the fact that you've got 5 riders coming. Are those guys coming off the back of this group or rejoining because this front group sat up a bit there? That's a little hard to tell.
Yeah, it
actually.
looks like I think there's a couple of rejoining. I think that's actually what's going on here.
Yeah, and so right, that's what you get when you're in these groups and nobody wants to go to the front. So it becomes what sprinters are back there that are rejoining now and might get a crack to earn some major points for their team. Nathan, really quickly, I want to hit the reset button and let everybody know that we're out here racing in Scotland today in our first ever scratch race. So there are no bonus points, no bonus sectors along the way. This is just points at the finish line in our 6 race series. Rolling Highlands out here today, 3 laps, 32K of racing. We will be heading to McCurry for the McCurry 40 team time trials at Ruelma Pool. That's going to be race number 3. Tour of Two at Well. That's going to be a tough one. That's coming up a scratch race for the 4th in this season 1 of 23-24. We'll go to Temples and Towers and then wrap it up with the team time trial 6 weeks from now. Actually, I guess it's 5 weeks from now, the greatest London flat. So it's going to be a great season. There's no question, especially with the awesome racing we've seen already today, Nathan.
I'm hearing over here that Ed Laverick is actually on stream saying that 4.1 is making it feel easier for him, which is interesting. And you know what? One
you
thing
don't want to hear, right? If you're his competitors.
Well, I mean, I wonder if perhaps that has something to do with that the pack. You know, when you have a lot of fitness and things whittle down, you know, it might have something to do with the fact that you can then control the race a little bit more.
And also, he's a breakaway specialist, right? So if we're saying that it suits guys, it would suit someone like Ed Laverick.
100%. 100%. Det Pettinger. Now, we were talking about maybe Deepak just kind of hanging out and looking for a sprint, but maybe they were just waiting for the right moments. You know, in the first 20 minutes of a race, you might not be able to really make any moves that are of any kind of consequence. And so letting everybody else soften up the legs, and then let's see what we can do later on. Pettinger here now off the front.
Yeah, and the same as we saw a couple kilometers ago. I think that what he's doing is looking for some help.
Yeah, 100%. Most likely. Willie here from ART, but just dragging the pack up, actually, rather than perhaps going across. That can be a super frustrating situation for somebody who's trying to make something happen as the Adam Racing team. But he does have 5 meters at this point. Jones has to back off on the front there, the Deepak Elite rider there. Jones actually helped Willie there at that point. You know, it can be a really touch and go as to whether or not you're covering a move from another rider or whether or not you're assisting the pack to come up and come across here. So it's all about the jumps and making sure that there isn't anybody on the wheels at the right moments. And, you know, what's really interesting in Zwift racing, Dave, it's a race of meters. You might not recognize it as best as you can if you aren't used to it or familiar with it, but it really is a race of meters.
Well, it isn't 5 meters, speaking of that, kind of the magic number when your gap is over 5 and you talked about using the right view to be able to establish what we're talking, like it's not there now at all. Everybody's in the draft, fully in the draft, but at 5 meters, you lose it. And I think that's really the magic number.
Yeah, it is 100%. And, you know, I think a lot of times in the moment, it can be difficult, can't it, Dave, to know exactly what might be happening, where's the avatars rolling, and how to use those dynamics. And those who are newer to the game also, we definitely like to be here for the ability to get a sense of what the gamification is, what it is, the way that the pack works, and how it works. Because we've seen riders out there, Dave, just go out there and essentially do a time trial over and over and over again throughout, you know, half of Zwift season. And some of the riders I've heard, and I remember Anna Russell talking to a few of the ladies, and I'm talking to a few of the guys that were newer on my side of things, and being like, well, yeah, it just feels like I'm just out there hammering the entire time all the way through, and it's just a time trial. And that a lot of times really comes down to whether or not there's that knowledge that there is a draft going on, that you are actually able to sit in and really being able to get that craft as best as you possibly can. Niall here now, backpedal, making his way to the front. As we can see, we're coming through the corkscrew for the second time, Dave, and things may split again here. Looking forward to the breakaway Bray, as we do have ART on the front.
I think what you said was really good information, Nathan, to tell you the truth, about how, as you're new to this, it does feel that way, that you're just out there hammering all the time. As you learn more, the subtleties, the Zwift craft, I think you coined that phrase the first time I ever heard it, and it really does make sense. Racecraft, Zwift craft, it makes a huge difference. And there you go, another attack right now. So but again, agreeing with what you're saying, the downhills, this moment right now is where I think we've seen the biggest impact of the new Pack Dynamics 4.1 as the breakaway, the solo breakaway, small rider groups have a much better chance. I mean, watch how much slower this gap comes back right here. Yes, it's coming back, but a year ago, they would have just swooped him up already.
Not only swooped him up, but swarmed right through him.
And gone right past him.
Yeah, right
exactly.
past him. And
he'd be so doing slow.
He'd be doing this 5 watts per kilogram, and the pack would be doing 3, and still it would just roll past him. At this point, though, as you can see, they had to get on his wheel even to draft.
Yeah, and I really remember when the anvil had been even weighted heavier. I think the anvil was like at 50 kilos, 50 kilograms. And when you had a bunch of riders all using anvils at the same time, a poor solo rider off the front would not only come back to the group, they would get dropped and not be able to rejoin. And it just didn't seem like that was the spirit of what we were trying to do with the racing. And they worked hard, and it's been so impressive to watch the tweaks, improvements. I mean, you could go on about all of this, and the burrito is another thing. As though we're starting to see now the feathers being used, reducing your weight by 10% for 30 seconds is obviously going to have a nice impact. Maybe not as much at a downhill, but you timing that one right. And most of these riders, Nathan, would be really, really familiar of exactly when there is no steering, but you could still use your Zwift plays to a great effect by being able to do things like power-ups.
Here we go now. Ed Laverick, Will Loudon, a couple of good riders to be having off the front here, that's for sure. Niall, though. Niall from Backpedal dragging the entire pack. But no, he's using the burrito. My mistake. Perfect. Good job by Niall there, using the burrito, so he's not actually dragging them up. He may be instigating them to come with, though, but Deepak's now getting involved. Lots of burritos. This is a moment, Dave. This is an absolute moment.
Absolutely. And now, so a bunch of other, not teammates, but other riders using that burrito put some guys in real trouble behind the 8 ball. It looks like everybody's going to fight back, and that speaks to the depth of the group that we've got. But this is, it is on, baby. Here we go. So these guys coming into, let's call it less than 9K, maybe more like 8.5K of racing, and they are spitting riders at the back of this group. So Nathan, the accelerator is really down on the floorboard right now.
It really is. And I'm making my way backward here just to see who's able to and who is not able to maybe make this juncture. Shipman here now just trying to claw his way back. Brealey's now off the back. G. Jones, this is the moments for them at 155 beats per minute. Interesting enough.
All or nothing now.
Brealey now no pins, 163 beats per minute. Peterson here, 168. Peterson from Fusion trying to claw his way back. He's on the back of this group here. They're going to have to work together and essentially team time trial on separate teams. Leonard here from Fusion also just 185, Dave. 186 to Fusion. Dev Rider holding on to Shipman's wheel, just trying to stay involved in this race as Ed is going nutso on the front, and it is 2 seconds. And if they continue on at this point, this is absolutely gone because they got to match what's up there, Dave. It's not going to happen. It looks like at 155, the pack is going away. I see nothing but fire socks kicking off up front here, and this is it, Dave. The FTPs are way over when it comes to the watts on the front, as now Backpedal continues on with this attack to split things apart. There's still a good 30 riders, though, Dave, and they've split it a little bit, but is it enough to what they want? They got to continue to whittle this down to really get it to where they've got a few off the front rather than this giant pack.
The competition aspect of esports is what really brings these riders all the way up to that 100% maximum effort. And that's the moment that we've arrived at now. So they are completely into this pandemonium mode at this point here at the front. Attacks have been coming left, right, and center. That's going to be no pins. R3R making their move with the Gringo rider here. Loud Gringo in the burrito appropriately from the Gringo here, and they're going to go right by him though, so up and over the top. So it is just counter after counter after counter right now. Will Loudon is a big name here on the No Pins R3R team, sitting up near the front. Here's Tuga Z, good to see them back. A lot of Portuguese flags in this group, right? Well, not as many as they'd like, I'd say, but there is Machado of the Tuga Z team riding near the front. You can see riders still fighting to hold on here, but the group remains relatively large as we are inside the last ronde, last lap now. All right, Nathan, here we go. Brace yourself. This one's going to be a Donnybrook, no doubt about it.
100%. Going to have just a few K to go at this point. And you're going to have some really motivated individuals looking to try and make this split because they do not want it to come down to a sprint. And I think backpedal, they've got a few riders that have been sitting in most likely, I would think here, Dave, trying to hold off for the sprint, but they are looking for nothing but that setup for Laverick, I think, to try and get off the front and stay away. There's going to be, one or two more attacks from him. I have a feeling it's going to be all in through the postcard section here in just a moment, through those, up and through the cliffs section. And there it is again, 10 watts per current, because this is the last moments. This is it. It's Will Loudon and Laverick off the front again.
Loudon and Laverick are two guys that even with these type of moves will still be competitive if they get caught, but you gotta love what they're doing right now. They're gonna put a lot of riders in trouble here. Nathan, the guy I've got my eyes on is Alexander Danel, AD. He's on the out team, and they've got numbers up in this group. Can out get a win on a day like today, the season opener in the ZRL? What a debut performance that would be. They will not give any kind of leash to Loudon and Laverick as they nail this one back. But look how the group is stringing out. And we talked about it now. When they're in the gutter is when you can attack and make a big difference. But we might be too far out right now for anybody to want to roll those dice, Nathan. Look at these gladiators. They are really, really fighting out here today.
Watch out for Loudon. This guy's a Zwift Academy boy. And at the same time, here's the thing. It looks like, is that going to be right? Is that this year? In June of this year, 2023, from what I'm seeing, he won. 20-year-old Will Loudon wins UCI Cambridgeshire World's TT Qualifier. And so this guy, he can walk away from a pack, and that's why he continues to go off the front with Ed Laverick. I mean, if these two, that's why they keep covering and killing it, because they know these two are gone, the race is over, and you're racing for third.
I got to be honest, it's great seeing Will out here racing. He was very popular with all of the Zwift family at the Zwift Academy that took place last year. And things didn't quite go his way, but certainly he won a lot of fans. You can always go back on YouTube and watch that. But it's great to have Will Loudon out here, not only racing, but mixing it up today. And still, I'd anticipate nothing less than a top 10 at the worst. Here's a rider that has had an impact in the race, GTR Gringo, that we're talking about, the No Pins R3R team. They've got multiple riders up in this front group as well. We're going to start running out of moments to attack this group. It's going to elevate, no question, when you talk about how intense these finales are. This is definitely the calm before the storm. There's no doubt another Ed Laverick attack is coming.
Yeah, we got a great question actually coming through from Duncan McCrae, and he's wondering what you can actually get away with out on course. And there's some
what do you mean?
How you can get away with from riders. Excuse me. Yeah. So like how many riders are needed? And in my opinion, at this point with Pack Dynamics, if the two riders that get away put out more effort than the rest of the pack, they will stick. That's the point of Pack Dynamics 4.1 is that because there isn't now whether or not you've got enough matches in those two riders to continue to outwork the pack, that's the real question. And so, I think the whole point of the new Pack Dynamics is more about that matching the effort of those who are trying to make a breakaway to bring them back is closer to what you would have to do. So Berm's now here, here. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, rather than getting the combined horsepower of that peloton, you're only getting the benefit of the one rider doing the chasing now, I think is a good way to put it, right? So two riders who are 5% stronger, who are willing to work together, can hold off a peloton now. And I know these algorithms are really, really complex. And right now, the algorithm is not going Berms' way, as he's going to come back into this group as we hit a reset with a greatly reduced group. But I think that the realism of what it's like and rewarding bravery and superhuman efforts is more in play now. And that's the end result is exactly what we're looking for. Okay, Nathan, there's really only 3 kilometers of racing left for a relatively large group, and Tuga Z is well positioned here.
The question for me here, Dave, Ed's going to have a tough time. I think in a sprint, I mean, and so there's going to have to be a 1K to go somehow. The pack sits up and doesn't chase him, so we'll see. But perhaps there is the reality at this point. Another thing with the new Pack Dynamics, everybody, is that you have to push by riders now in a sprint. You don't just automatically get the roll through speed, you also have to kind of push by at a higher watt per kilogram. And so you can protect your position with your power now, and being toward the front and set up toward the front is way more important. You don't just have this like blast through the pack any longer unless you're getting dragged up. And so, it's very, there's a lot of finesse to it. There's a lot of different things that can happen depending on what people around you are doing. It's way more realistic in that respect, that there isn't just one size fits all in a sprint. But now, if Ed is able to be up toward the front, he does have a good kick for his watt per kilogram over a punchy climb of a sprint. So we'll see what he can do there.
Oh, yeah, and I don't want to put any shade on Ed, because even if he attacks and gets caught, he still gets you a third, a fifth, a seventh place, no doubt. And that's really what we're talking about now, as the speed starts to ramp up in a major way here up near the front. It looks like TNT is going to start. A couple Irish flags. That's good to see. Kenny making his, and that's Rider Without Borders, our friends, doing a great job of uniting Irish cyclists together out here. So here we go. This one's been wound up tight. Inside of 1.5K to go at this point. So Nathan, as you said, now it comes down to how well positioned were you, because the calm before the storm is over. You are now in the eye of the hurricane as a wattage tornado bearing down on Scotland right now.
Willie now from ART on the front, leading things out for ART, trying to make it tough for everybody else here. Yeah, a little bit of downhill. Interesting that he's on the front. I mean, yeah, protecting a position, perhaps. I'm not exactly sure what he's looking for here.
Or he's just there. Right. Sometimes you just end up there, I think.
That's a good point. Yeah, sometimes you do. You just end up there. I like that. That's going to be one for the ages, Dave. Sometimes you just end up there. There you are. Where am I at?
You're right.
When you're in life, that's like a life quote. Sometimes I just 100%. End up, there I am. I'm there.
That could be the title of my book, I think. Sometimes you just end up there.
That is a great book title, actually. All right, here we go. Nilsson here.
The title's now. Who's a Wattage Cottage? Yeah, here we go. Nilsson out. I thought they might do something special, Nathan. Is it too early, though? You know this sprint better than anyone. Has he hit out with authority, but maybe 200 meters too early?
We'll see. It might be just an instigator. I think it's an instigator. I think this is to pull everybody else out to try and respond really early. And the rest of the OUT team, they may be on the hunt to try and follow this up. But here comes Will Loudon, 10.4 watts per kilogram. Very early feather power up. Kenny, hold on to this. But here comes the rest of the pack. Burns from Mutant. Kenny there, also from Mutant, making the moves. But look at the move. Oh, my goodness. Deepak, Morgan, holding on. Deepak are swarming at the front. Pacheco's coming on through. Is it going to be Pacheco? Ben Jones is there as well. David Pacheco, Ben Jones, Fawcett also from Mutineer to the line. Is it going to be Fawcett? Right at the line. Pacheco and Fawcett. Not sure which one was able to take it. What a move by everybody from Deepak, but it might have been the last moment from Mutant. We'll take a look at the replay in just a moment, but that was a hot one to the line.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really hard to tell who ultimately takes top points as the bonification is going to be distributed here. And we'll see it really what you should be looking for, what teams put 3 or 4. No one put 4, that's for sure, up into the top 10 here. Let's review this sprint here. Nathan, this really, really was a good showing out here from Pacheco from the Deepak team. One of his best results in all time.
Yeah, nice one here coming from Pacheco. We'll see at the line here whether or not he was actually able to take it down. Leading things out. Ben Jones trying to hold on to his wheel. Not enough kick, though, from his teammate. But here comes Fawcett. Fawcett with the solid kick. And you can see it is a pure wattage game.
They do take 2. And they do take 2 spots in the top 3. So the points are going to be massive for them there. It's not just winning, although we talked about that during the broadcast. These racers come to win. That's their thoroughbreds. That's what they do. But 2 in the top 3 and then start scanning down, right? Deepak, more Deepak, Nathan. Here, Firminger, Morgan up there. So ultimately, TNT and Deepak were, I have to think, the top squads.
And I am seeing we're going to get the update here in just a second for the team standings as well as the results here as we're getting them loaded. Great? Such a good race. Wow. I did see a question coming through from Jeremy Hunter, and I just want to answer that question. He was asking, do we ever see a breakaway? Just a moment. We're about to head on over to the women's race, and you will see a breakaway.
I was going to say, just one off the front you will.
Right now. So you definitely will see a breakaway, especially with the new pack dynamics. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at the results, and then we'll head on over to the women's race. And it was Pacheco able to hold on. Dave, take it away for us.
Yeah, thanks, Nathan. So congratulations, David. That's a big one for you and your team. So Deepak picks up the W. Mutant Y. Ross Fawcett getting up there. Great job today, Ross. Ben Jones in for third. So that's Deepak going 1-3. No pins, R3R with Chris Smart up there. And Morgan for Deepak also there. That is it. You can see now how Deepak does have 4 in the top 7. I didn't even think that was possible. Unbelievable. So Matthew DePau for Mutant Y in 6. Steve Firminger for Deepak Elite. That's the fourth musketeer for Deepak Elite out here today. Stephen Kenny, the Irishman, for Mutant Y. They also, I mean, Nathan, they also have 4 in the top 9. This is some performance from Mutant Y today. So the cream of the crop here in our top 10 includes Stephen Kenny, the Irishman, Tom Burns there, the Belgian, for Mutant Y, and then Fabio Moraes for Tugas Estrella is going to end up in our top 10. Oh boy. So I know that you want to jump over to the women, Nathan, but congratulations to the guys for a spirited way to open up the first of 6 races for 23-24 season 1. We got a lot of
Just
racing
want to
still ahead of us here today.
real quickly, just mention to everybody that if over on Zwift Power, make sure to change up your team that you're attached to if you can. You know, a lot of times you can have a few different teams over on Zwift Power. And what comes through here on these results boards and just making sure that you're attached to the correct team will help out a lot for these results if you do want to get them 100% correct. But let's go ahead and jump on over to the women's race. Dave, I mean, and this is not to this has nothing to do with any kind. There's just a similar last name here. You were wondering if there's going to be a breakaway. Well, Vision Valkyrie are off the front, and no favoritism or anything.
I know this woman.
It's just the reality. At 4.2 watts per kilogram, steady now at this point. But it's hit or miss here still with 1 lap to go here, Dave, because it is a situation here where it's only 20-some seconds. It's like 20 to 30 seconds. I'm not sure where the breakaway would actually had happened. She might be able to actually tell me. She's racing literally right next to me here at this point. I'm going to see if we can jump back a little bit through the pack and see where things are at for the rest of the crew out here as they're making the chase. But she's got over 30 seconds, so that's why we don't have anybody behind at this point.
Well, this is a good friend of mine's wife that we're looking at right now is Gabby Guerra off of the front. She is the Brazilian German now living in Wisconsin and a huge part of our family. So there's no question that she has a lot of fans out here. Look at this group, though, Nathan. I mean, some of the biggest names. We've got Femke de Z. The Aeonian squad is in full effect. Daniela Estrate, the Romanian sensation. Ariel Verhaeren, U.S. Worlds team rider. And, I mean, she's definitely a superstar. Whitney Post is out here racing today as well for the AVRT team, and that's Amanda.
Actually, she's in for so that again, those are the things where good example. She's actually racing Vision Valkyrie today. So
there you go.
And so that's one thing where it does help if things are changed in game. Just as a heads up, everybody. For the attachments too, but some people racing for 2 teams, that makes things really difficult because earlier in the day you got to change it, and then you got to change it again later in the day. So 100%, it's a lot of messing around. But
it would be like telling your credit card company how much money you made every day by logging into their account and then getting into your, you know what I mean? It's like a lot of updating. So I totally understand. I was going to joke and say that could be a TV show called That's So Whitney. She doesn't have that updated, but Whitney Post is also a very.
That's a TV show. That is a TV show waiting to happen. That's so Whitney. I absolutely love that. Oh my goodness!
So
I think the pack's given up at this point, Dave, from what it looks like to me.
Okay, well, so there's also when you fish and cut bait, that saying, at some point, there's going to be these points that go up the road. Now, do you burn your team up and give up the chance of winning the team competition by chasing Gabby too hard? And this is Gabby Guerra that we're looking at right now, who, if you know her backstory, it's even more impressive of the Vision Valkyrie team that she's doing this. Vision is a trading company out of Wisconsin that she is one of the principals at. And if you want to take a look at someone, practice what you preach. Well, she came back. There she is right now. Gabby came back from basically Nathan, correct me where I go wrong, but a shattered hip, more or less, a really, really tough mountain bike crash. And that was not, if it's even a year ago or probably a
Yeah,
little more
fractured
than a
hip,
year.
a couple broken
Yeah,
ribs, fractured
look
collarbone,
at
all
her
happened
go.
last November. So been on the recovery. And Gabby's also, I mean, a lot of recovery going on in her life in a lot of different ways when it comes to
She's
cycling
great.
and of course that accident. But it was also a part of something that we want to sensitive topic we talk about on the wrap here and there, as well as within training as a coach and different kinds of things when it comes to making sure that we just have healthy eating habits, especially with being so
Uh-huh.
focused on watts per kilogram and things like that. And definitely some recovery coming from having some red S syndrome and making sure that, just all the calories are getting there that are needed to fuel the bike. You have to eat to be able to perform on the bike and keep the body healthy. And she's definitely come back from that as well. And it's proving
Good.
to be a very helpful. She is
Cathartic.
having a pretty good
Very
race at this
cathartic, isn't
point.
it? It's funny. It turns out holistic and good health generally across the board benefits you as a cyclist too. Who knew, right?
Yeah.
A healthy lifestyle can sometimes you can get carried away with it sometimes, and that's the mental aspect. And a big part of mental health and Zwift go together. And I love hearing that story. And another great ride from Gabby. We're back with the Chase Group, and it becomes now a separate race at this point. And again, it's far from over. Yeah, you can. So sort of like writing off cost of doing business, right? So okay, Gabby's gone. We're not going to bring her back. But if you are, let's say, Aeonian, if you can put three riders in the top five here, that completely counteracts anything that Gabby has done. But is
Yeah,
that
that's
easy
true,
to do?
100%, and
Right.
that is definitely going to be something here. As Vision Valkyrie only do have two riders out there today. I actually have both their live streams ready to go. Both of them streaming over on Twitch here at this
That's Whitney
point.
Post.
So Whitney Post there,
Yep.
sitting in. She's going to be the sprinter, I think, on the day. She looks like it's hot there down in Southern California right now. Look at the sweat dripping off of her. And those are not live donuts. They just have their own little bit of a donut chasing
Don't ruin
Instagram
my
stories
fantasy.
all
That's
the
a live
time.
donut.
Herself as
That's a
well as
live
Michael
donut
Sweet.
sitting
They're great
somewhere.
with the donuts. Yeah, I absolutely love it here. But also, Dave, let's talk about Ariel Verhaeren. We have this specific course back on our Instagram for Zwift Community Live, one of the best sprints we've ever seen leading into World Championships from Ariel Verhaeren. Is there anybody that
Wow.
you can actually go past but Verhaeren
No.
here, coming to the line here when it comes
No.
to a sprint? I mean, seriously.
I'm sorry, Nathan. There's just no chance that I would be able to do that and be honest with you. She's a stone cold killer. The one rider I'm looking at would be her teammate Femke Dizzy.
Good
Also,
point. Good point.
but I mean, I'm thinking when I wasn't kidding when I said three in the top four is possible for Aeonian here. That's Whitney's job. Whitney really needs to get up there and take points that can back up the ride that we see. Now, remembering you're
Daniela
looking at the two.
Estrate is here too, Dave. I
That's it. That's
mean,
the third. That's the third, my friend. So
now Jenny
they can do
Ekno
it.
here has shown up for Toyota. Watch out for Eck to be there in the final. I'm surprised
Big
Race Like a
talent.
Girl hasn't made some moves. Being mainly I Race Like a Girl is this purplish pink kit that you're seeing here with 1, 2, 3 riders. They got Amanda Wendorf, it looks like, showing up here and a few others. And they are a triathlon based team, and I'm just a little surprised they haven't tried and organize something to throw something together. But with 3 riders, again, do you sacrifice that, or do you just make sure that you get the points that you need? Because there's only 2 Vision riders that have shown up today.
Well, and that's exactly it. Remembering that these tactics aren't based on just
Oh,
winning.
my
Look
mistake.
how
I made a mistake. I
the-
want to just say sorry to Pamela Levine real quickly, because there is a third Vision rider that has
Oh,
shown
good.
up. So, and this
Right.
is old school Vision. She's actually made some in real life live events in the past, qualified for them actually in esports. So Pamela Levine, long time. She's got a 9,000 number. Her Zwift is in the 9,000s, her ID. So let's talk about old school, like way, way back as far as the betas and everything. So very long-term rider.
Very ominous right now when you look at the Aeonian kit, is they are right now
Right.
like that panther that's posed to strike. They've got their team right now just chilling, sitting on watts that they're just charging their battery. This is a huge talent. Do not think for a second that Daniela Estrate sitting at the back of this group is in any kind of trouble. What she is doing, again, like that mountain lion right before it attacks the poor little bunny rabbit, she's just licking her lips right now as she knows that lunch is about to be served.
Absolutely, 100% here, Dave. And looking through, we've got a couple other teams we definitely want to highlight. Watt Fabric has shown up out here today, it looks like. We've got Sue Zellweger. I Race Like a Girl, as we did say. Amanda Wendorf has shown up with a few other of the teammates. Looking through, who else is here? Charlotte Colclough. Dave, in a sprint,
big names.
Colclough has got a kick. She's got a really good kick. I'd watch out for her as well for Toyota Stelvio.
I did not realize that Anna Russell was racing. I haven't seen her name pop up here, but she was on our start list. Always a big fan of her. But yeah, Amanda Argy, the beta team has Ruth Schreier here as well. So that is, do not sleep on them. But you mentioned the name Amanda Wendorf, and that's part of the I Race Like a Girl team with Amanda Kate here as well. So there's some really well-known, talented names. And the one you've got queued up right now from the Toyota Stelvio team, Charlotte Colclough, she's a mega racer.
100%. Now, WLC has got a few riders in here still as well. I thought perhaps we'd see a little bit more force from them when it comes to this Central. They tend to be a force to be reckoned with, but I have a feeling a few other riders that we'll be watching out for maybe later in round 2 or later in this round, because perhaps they're hanging out in the real life racing at the moment.
Nathan, I really can't believe I missed Amy Henderson is here. Another great rider on that team. So we'll be watching out for, she's also in this group now for Aeonian. So Aeonian has their entire squad here. They really are one of the original super squads, teams that just weren't esports. Here goes Daniela Estrate, but the whole team is moving now. So here we go. This is the charge of the Light Brigade. Watch Aeonian making their move into the, look at this coordination. Watch burritos. Watch for burritos now. Here we go. I would expect they're going to throw some up, Nathan.
Yeah, we'll see how this goes here. Now, there are a few burritos left, but I have a feeling that it's mainly going to be about the feather power-ups here in just a moment. Henderson, Ecknow, all, as you can see, the big names that we were talking about here. But look at this, Dave. Beta are also up toward the front. They might be a new force to be reckoned with. You know, Beta's been around for a while, but have they really stepped up their game coming into this? Here comes Carla Johan. Johan now, haven't seen her a while since the TTTs back in the day, but Johan now coming on through to the front. Is she going to be the lead-out woman, or is she going to try and make an early break here for that I Race Like a Girl team? I absolutely love that the triathletes are showing up here and throwing down the watts.
Well, it looks like we are locked and loaded. This is not a drill. It's big-time esports racing is coming into another finale, and it's going to be a kick, Nathan, as they're rapidly coming up on the red kite. Who's going to make that red kite prayer? Well, let's remember now, this is your win. Boy, you get so wrapped up in that.
In the back, really right? You forget. Silver. Well, Gabby's in her own time zone, so you're like, well, where is she at this point? But, you know, the reality is they can always close a time gap. I'm not saying they're going to come back at this point, but she's got to keep the pressure on and make sure that she's pushing on to just, you know, this isn't over till it's over, and it's an effort all the way to the line. 184 beats per minute, smashing it here. There's the final feather power up, and Gabriela Guerra, she's going to be taking it down out here today for the Vision Valkyrie team. They're going to need a lot of points, though, Dave. They've only got, I think, 3, maybe 4 riders showing up on the day, but with the 48-second gap, she takes it down an early breakaway and proves that it can happen out on Zwift.
In Goodwill Hunting, the line is, how about them apples? Right?
Do you like apples? You like apples?
Yeah.
How about them apples?
Well, exactly. Good for Gabby. How about them apples? As she really serves one up. Here's the kick, though. You can see the gap was coming down because they're racing really, really aggressively. I was expecting to see a little more Aeonian than this. That's a big one. Big one now.
Verhaaren there, 10 watts per kilogram. Will she be a lead-out woman, or is she going to just go toe-to-toe all the way to the line? And this is it. Verhaaren's going to hold on, I think. 10.8.
Here comes 3. Here comes 3. Here comes 3.
Fem to Z. Comes on through. And it is going to be second, third, and fourth across the line. Aeonian, big points. And that is going to most likely win them the day. That was quite the lead-out for Aeonian from Verhaaren, and able to hold on to second.
You know what I was saying, Nathan, is look, Gabby Guerra, all hats off to you. Solo win. It was huge, but Aeonian didn't take the bait. They didn't need to. Nathan, if they had chased too hard, they might not have gotten the result with second, third, 4th, and another rider I still think in the top 10. That is how you race as a collective team. Command performance from both Gabby Guerra and her Vision team. And clearly, Aeonian just doesn't miss a step.
Yeah, amazing kick there from Aeonian. And did you see how Ariel set that up? Verhaeren kicked at the perfect time with the feather, and it actually gave her other two teammates the wheels to come on through here. Nicely done, and you can't take away from DeZ there out of the Netherlands with that final 12 almost watts per kilogram straight to the line. These ladies have been putting in the work over the summer.
Can I just say, Nathan, that's a great example if you don't have to win the outright race. So, yes, the most impressive performance today for me so far is Gabby Guerra. A solo breakaway to win by that much, you can't deny what she did out here is the best solo performance. I'll just say it. I don't mind. I'll own that. But the best team performance, and that's how we keep score technically here, is Aeonian today. So, yeah, it makes it really, really cool. And you really get a feel for how this works, and that having a cohesive, organized team with real leaders like Ariel Verhaeren, and she does this in USA BMX as well. Daniela Strate, who's I would say in that pantheon of greats in esports. So this is really what an exceptional team, exceptional individual rides, and collectively so far a great start to season 1 of 23-24 here.
Looking through, we're looking to
Gabby
try to bring
okay?
in.
She's
faint? Okay. Well, Gabby, actually, she said no. I heard her say no, and I think the reason why, real quickly here, please don't take that down from screen. Please don't take that down from screen, Gabby. She said no because I think she doesn't want to suffer. I think she doesn't want to suffer more because Zwift says that they detected a new FTP. And wow. The point of today was getting ready for Schwamagon. And so because of that, she's got to race the Lifetime Grand Prix this weekend. And so the idea was put down a really, really solid threshold effort. That was
looks like it worked. So I just want to give perspective for those around the world. Schwamagon is a race in Wisconsin that's part of, as Nathan just said, the Lifetime Series, which is it's really the premier set of endurance, mostly mountain bike, little gravel in there. But it's not the last one of the season, but it's a really big one. And it's kind of one of the pivotal mountain bikey ones. So good luck to Gabby. Clearly you guys at Vision are doing a great job, Nathan. Was today not a lot of fun, or am I just really, really missing ZRL?
I'm having a ton of fun. I'm having a ton of fun.
Me
well,
too.
We've got one more to go, Dave. We've got
man.
one more finish to go here. We've got another probably 15-ish minutes. I know it's a long day, and we're going to have two more broadcasts later after this one, but we're going to jump in and see some results here, and then we'll jump on into our final broadcast with of the race for EMEA, and then we're going to take a break for a couple hours, and we'll give Dave a chance to get his breath, I think, and as Matt Steven would say, have a little lay down maybe after a lot going on out here today. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at these results, though, for the ladies.
All right. Thanks, Nathan. So, yeah, congratulations again. So that weird, when you do the circle thing on the flags, which is a cool way to do it, but unfortunately that's Brazil, as that's Gabby's flag. So congratulations to the Vision Valkyrie rider. Femke DeZ did back up those numbers that she had on the board, but really it was this effort from her team that was so impressive today, including you, Femke, legend. Amy Henderson gets up there for Aeonian, as does Ariel Verhaeren. So that's really going to be the difference maker, it looks like, although you always have to crunch the numbers. Ruth Shire, glad we got her a shout out today because she always represents Coalition Beta, is her team. Mikey van der Plas for Toyota Cryo RDT. Another team that probably didn't talk about enough today because they also are one of the original premier squads with Charlotte Colclough there of Toyota also in 7th. Daniela Strate for Aeonian Aces in 8th. Stephanie Sidlick, good to see Doc Sidlick back, Coalition Beta rider in 9th, and always nice to see the Finnish rider. She's a star. Jenny Eck for Toyota Cryo. I mean, Nathan, they do get 3 in the top 10 with Jenny nudging in there. So well done again by Toyota Cryo. They never disappoint. So that's our top 10 for our women out here today.
Yeah, it's interesting to see here, fun. Dave. Any guesses on how things now? Some ladies might be finishing up and just rolling in. It might not change
Aeonian
things
has
up.
to win this.
I think so.
There's
I think
no way.
Got the
There's no way.
Right? Yeah.
It doesn't even matter what happens with their third place rider. By taking second, third, and fourth place points on this table, there's no chance that they don't be top team.
Yeah, and I mean, even if you do get the win, this will show,
No,
you know,
to
right here. I
back
mean,
that
Vision
up,
Valkyrie at the
he had to
bottom,
be
as you can
fifth.
see here. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
right.
So, but it's okay. I mean, the Aeonian Aces, the Coalition Beta, great to see the numbers from Coalition Beta. And we said that coming into that finish, they looked like they'd been setting up for something there. So great to see them showing up at the top spots here as well. But as you said, it's going to be a battle, I think, for that Toyota Priority T, Coalition Beta Women and Aeonian Aces all the way to the finish. Now, Dave, there is a lot of differentiation in this season. Let's talk to that for just a moment. Like, this season, the way it's set up is going to favor people differently. It's going to favor different horses, different courses, right, Dave? I mean, what a great season, the way they set this up, the way that there's going to be able to be a lot of changes, I think, here because of that. If there's different teams with different strategies and abilities within those strategies.
Excellent point. I mean, in all honesty, Nathan, if you can't team time trial, I don't see how you're going to win this series. And that really speaks to WTRL. They're really fair about it. It's only 2 of the 6 events, but we wrap things up at Greatest London Flat. And I'm going to guess that we have 3-4 teams in most of our divisions racing that will be in contention heading into that last team time trial. We've learned a lot along the way here with Esports and Zwift. And I am really, really impressed by the effort that yourself, Nathan, and Martin at WTRL and all of the gameplay engineers and everybody at Zwift have made to try to improve this. And I really feel like this season is now when we're cooking with gas. I just want to run through. So we have a points race next week, which is at the McCurry 40. We're calling it. Then Rule Mapool is the first team time trial. And that's going to be huge. The teams that have experience with that will really lean in on that week, and that's where they can start making some real moves. We then go to Tour of Two at Well. That's the hardest day, Nathan, I think.
By far. But yeah, I mean, so punchy. So punchy. I mean, it's going to be
ridiculous.
It's going to have so much opportunities for breakaways, and I think people are going to be all over every opportunity that they can get in that scratch race.
And then just keeping on with the theme here, Temples and Towers will be the 5th week of racing that we have. And then finally, Greatest London Flat, as I mentioned, will be where we wrap things up in that team time trial. And it's going to be thrilling. There's no doubt, especially with what we've seen so far. And isn't it great to see some familiar names, some new names? It seems like, again, that the mix is just perfect right now for great competitive spirited racing.
100%. Well, we do have one more race to get the second half of here, and we're trying our best, just so everybody knows, we absolutely love, and the whole point here is Zwift Community Live. We look to go across the entirety of the community. Today, we have been focusing a lot on the A categories. We'll be looking next week to also be focusing on a lot of the B and the C categories as best as we possibly can. So be on the watch out for that. We will be giving updates as well as a newsletter update actually later this week about what happened through the broadcast here across the entirety of the channel, as well as broadcasts that are coming up. So you can head over to ZwiftCommunityLive.com. ZwiftCommunityLive.com is where you can find our podcast with the wrap, covering all things Zwift as far as updates, tech, fashion, all that kind of stuff, as well as all the race broadcasts that we are doing. It all lives over on ZwiftCommunityLive.com. If you sign up on the website, that will get you access to those newsletters. And so let's go ahead and jump right on into our final broadcast, though, of the day here, as we do have one more European men's broadcast. And this is going to be the European Open EMEA West is what we're in with Division 1A. Tonka from the AHDR Australian team here on the front. It looks like making his way here for what looks to maybe we're going to have a breakaway situation actually already forming with a little under 20K to go. There's actually some riders making some moves I'm seeing here, Dave. And this one might be one of the ones that we're talking about. Electric Spirit Co. Beatty is also here. Kreber. This might be the excited one of the day here, Dave, perhaps.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. So this is that old Electric Spirit Co. Kit that we have come to really love. Yes, creamsicle is right. So I think in the 2.5 million questions, Nathan, that I've asked you about Zwift through all the years, that probably one of the first ones was, what does AHDR stand for? And that's the Australian Hump Day Ride Crew. They were one of the very original groups. We got a 4-rider breakaway. So I really do appreciate the question asked earlier. And that has always been one of the long-standing raps on esports racing, is that it's always turns into a sprint. But believe me, you're in for a treat. And if you're just joining us now, I mean, the racing has been pure and dynamic, and this is going to be a good example here as they eke out 4 or 5 seconds right now, so not a big gap to reset for everybody. This is Rolling Highlands. This is Scotland, the most recently introduced world that we have, and out here today racing for a total of 32K. So if you do the math, you know that they're well past the halfway point, but they're doing 3 laps out on this circuit. Nathan, the most critical feature in my mind is going to be Breakaway Bray, but we talked about how Cliffs climb sneakily. Don't throw any shade on that climb. That's maybe where we might see the winning move if it happens out here. Corkscrew Castle climb, another one of the features, but now they're starting to bridge across. So picking it up about 17.8K in. Nathan, good to see Electric Spirit.co back.
Yeah, and it looks like there are a couple of riders here from Electric Spirit trying to get involved again here at the front. Beatty is also there. It looks like AHDR staying involved. Another AHDR rider, I think, coming across here, and that's going to be Bramwell getting involved. Humpton is the other Electric Spirit rider here, also getting involved. And now the pack's starting to get a little bit frustrated with this. Now they're going to have to really, the creamsicle crowd here is going to have to push on. It's going to be Brayan, also Kraber, Bayan, Kreber, and Humpton. That's the 3 from the creamsicle crowd. Then HDR have got 3 here as well. Will they get together and start working? They've got to do it now because the pack is getting a little bit worried. But at 3.7 on the front, is Enders being a little frustrated? He didn't make it. No, he's not going to come across here. So Electric Spirit is not going to work against themselves. And I think that's gone, Dave. There's 3 and 3 plus 1. 7 on the front here with 2 teams represented. They're gone, I think, Dave. They'd have to throw this one away. Honestly, they'd have to really mess this one up somehow.
Oh, boy. Well, I can't wait to see whether you are wrong or right. First rider trying to bridge across. Here we go. It's panic mode now. Nathan, the sweet spot is that one rider who's not on the 2 teams represented in the front group, as he should not put his nose out in the wind. That is for sure. This is Duchesne that we're looking at. This is the bridge trying to go from station to station out here. Oh, my goodness. What a thrilling way to wrap up the morning block of racing here, or I should say the afternoon. It doesn't matter where in the world you are. This racing is fantastic. So here we go. He's going to try to get up there now. This is going to be Duchesne, but Nathan, this group should not lay off. What really is going to come down to, can these 2 teams agree to swap poles and take even turns in this group? Because if one team starts pulling riders out of the rotation, that throws off the balance here. So that one rider, again, has no reason to take a pole. You just won the lottery as far as this race goes, being able to sit on this group. Wow.
Oh, he's really trying.
Hard.
He's really trying. Can he do it? I don't know, Dave. I mean, 5 seconds still up front, and they're going to be working so hard. And that's the thing, is that once they start getting together and really working, it's going to be tough to get across. Nozaki now from AHDR. I've ridden with this guy plenty, actually. I like this rider. He's got a solid kick. He's also got a really good FTP. And these 3 riders, they start working together. They may be able to bring this back, but they're going to need more than one, I think, at this point, because up front, there's a ton of firepower. But this is it here, Dave. I think that we may get these 3 across, and then we're going to have a solid 10 up the road.
I'm with you. Duchesne's got to be just looking for a little bit of a break right now, is unfortunately the rider right in front of him. That's going to be, I think, Nozaki letting that gap open up, which is a bit of a bummer right now to be in that position. And there you go. He is really just scraping the bottom of the barrel right now, trying to get up to that front group. This is the bridging group now. You can see just up the road that original breakaway. Wow, what a fantastic dynamic we are witnessing out here. So can these 3 start working together? I'm with you, though. I'm anticipating we have a group of 10 together off of the front, and then that should be lights out.
We'll see if that ends up happening here. They're going to have to use that uphill most likely. I think the front group perhaps might not soft pedal, but kick a little bit, and these 3 may be able to kick very intensely over the top. We'll have to wait and see.
I would I would not let it be any easier on them, to tell you the
Not
truth.
one bit.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yes,
Yeah, right.
100%. 100%. But at 3 watts per kilogram on the front here, this is one thing that's not the same, everyone. One thing I just really need to emphasize for everybody is that you have to work on downhills now. Maybe not
Oh,
quite as much
yes.
as the flats and not quite as much as the uphills, but the downhills still need a little bit of effort. Not the
Well,
same as before where you need to put 8 or something to match a pack, but you do still need a solid tempo on the front to keep the speed, and it looks like HDR knows exactly what that's all about. And it's going to be P here now, actually making a little bit of a move, it looks like, into this uphill. They're not actually on his wheel, 5 meters back. Bayan's going to get back on terms. Here come the orange numbers. It's going to stay together, but Nozaki and that group behind, the Nozaki Chase group, I'm not sure they're going to see this group again. They're at 8 seconds, Dave. It hasn't come down. It's only gone up.
yeah, and now they're outnumbered, right? As these guys keep coming through, this is going to be, again, we're looking at the Tête de la Course, or the vanguard of this race, and they look well equipped for the task at hand, to tell you the truth. So this is a good moment for the ride of the Creamsicle crew. That's going to be Electric Spirit Co. This is a team that I would say in the middle of the modern Zwift movement really came unstrung. They're attacking now out, so that's interesting here. So he did it what you were looking for, Nathan. He's not dragging that group up. He attacked out of the group, so now they are really just pouring some salt in the wound when you talk about Electric Spirit Company. They're attacking out of the peloton rather than sitting back and just waiting to see what happens with that chase. They're being incredibly aggressive at this point in the races. They're just about down to a little over 10K
Almost made it, Dave.
to go.
He came so close. Oh, man. Parsons comes on through, and it's not going to split, and they're just going to bring back, actually, the 3. It looks like he's not going to get across. I thought Endersby maybe was a little bit frustrated with not making it. It's a very strong rider. Does bring back 3, but it's not going to be anything when it comes to the front group. The front group, they're said and gone.
Yeah, and it really interesting. I mean, for them to be able to pull off this kind of a bank heist out here and get away from these strong riders back in this group really speaks to the coordination of the effort. I wonder if those two teams somehow, it looked like both of their strategies really complemented each other, is a good way to put it out here, Nathan, as we're getting down to the nitty gritty of this race here. Oh, boy. All right. So, it's hard to say now. I mean, I'll put that one back in your court, to tell you the truth, after all the U.S. Open tennis this week. Who is it who has the advantage right now in this group? Is it AHDR, the Australian Hump Day riders, who are on the front right now in that blue kit, blue and black, or the white and orange of electricspirit.co? Hard
now
to say.
The questions really start to come into their heads about how they're going to win this, right? I mean, they've got 3 and 3, so now it's more about, okay, we had a whole pack to deal with. Now it's team versus team. Now you almost have a ladder league situation, right? We've got that ladder league that's been going on. I don't know if anybody in the community has heard of this, but it's actually head-to-head tournament racing. And you can select anybody that you want to race against. You essentially say, hey, on the ladder right now, I see that you're within 5 places of me. I challenge you to a race. You show up with your racers. You race team versus team. And that's essentially what we have with a couple of other riders in and amongst here that could throw some wrenches into the plans. But really, AHDR and Electric Spirit Co. Are the instigators within this pack, I would think. And everybody else gets to watch and wait. And I think Barrett here, perhaps, though, he might be a rider that could counter something from either of these teams if they put too much on the line.
There isn't a world in which those other teams are not racing for third place on the day right now. When you look at this group and how front-loaded it is for both of those teams, the electricspirit.co and AHDR. So they've done a really great job of starting off on the right foot. One solid step forward here in the first of 6 races that make up the 2023-24 season 1. So Nathan, already they're winners at this point, I would say, barring something unimaginable. Well, I mean, it wouldn't. I've seen crazier things happen, like that giant dragon snail thing off the side there of the course. Always, but Nessie. I assume.
Yeah, the Nessie.
Yeah,
the Nessie. I'm going to answer some questions here in chat here real quickly. I want to also highlight, we're probably going to see this a ton. Connor Macbeth, love to see him always in chat. He says he set a new FDP today. And I think
I wonder how many others.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think across the board, we're going to have plenty and plenty of that coming on through. Quick question. What category is this one? So this is going to be the category A's that we're currently in with for the Open EMEA West Division 1.
West.
That's who we're in with here right at this moment. We'll get some new titles made for you out there too. I'm just realizing perhaps having some new ZRL titles for every single one of the races so that people can know exactly what category alongside of what division, because there are, Dave, we're looking at almost 2,000 teams, I think. We're getting close to 2,000 teams across the entirety of the world. What competition in the world on one day has that many?
And this is a classic good problem to have, because when you look at it with that, close to 20,000 racers or something near that. EMEA stands for Europe, Middle East, and Africa. And then the W is West. And then we have to double down. That's how much that kingdom, phylum, species, order thing we're talking about here is to get these groups of competitive races. You're looking for, around, 80 riders in a race, or 60, 80, whatever it is that's ideal. You have to really break things down as we take a look at a great example of that, finding solid competitive group. And as Nathan noted, we've got the B's and the C's. It all is part of this ecosystem, and we will cover many races that aren't just the A's. But in this case, this is the highest level of racing in Europe, Middle East, and Africa, West Division 1. So that's it really is saying something to the popularity of esports racing here on Zwift. And you really feel just a redoubling of the effort across the board with Pack Dynamics 4.1 coming into play, the retooling of the power-ups. So we're in a good place. And these riders, I don't know if they're in a good place. Well, these two teams are. Now, Nathan, the question becomes now, how do you set up the finale here?
Well, it looks like HDR are controlling the front very well, actually, to make sure that nobody can easily get across here at this point.
There are still points back here.
Plenty of points still available. Actually, attacks here coming from HDR out of the front group, though. Lawrence on the move. HDR's making early moves here, Dave, as they head on over into what I call a postcard.
Yeah, taking the bull by the horns. I was going to say, Nathan, if you get spots 9, 10, 11 and put your team in better position than the other, well, that will, make up for not doing perfectly in the finale. So those riders still play a pivotal role for their squad. It's going to be a teammate now coming through. We're with Lawrence, but AHDR has seen this covered, and now they got to be ready for the counterattack coming from electricspirit.co as, the one rider, going back to Beatty here.
Yeah, off the back there for a second. Wasn't too attentive, it looks like, for just a moment. Found himself in a little bit of trouble.
Now kind of overreacting, as you can see.
Yeah,
or is he attacking?
Correct there. You might be right. It might be more of a... This isn't a slight against him or anything, but sometimes if you're on a setup that doesn't necessarily have a good network connection, you don't see those attacks as quickly, or perhaps a little bit of a lag on the computer side of things, or an older
cat
TV.
knocked over a water bottle.
There's all kinds of things that can be happening there. And sometimes, a lot of times, when I see a rider go off the back and then roll through the pack and go off the back and roll through the pack, sometimes there's a tech thing there more that's a little bit laggy. Now, BD, I'm not saying that's what's happening with him, but sometimes that can be a sign of that.
I'm totally agreeing with you. Also saying, though, there is that tendency to kind of overreact when you're like, oh, my God, I'm getting dropped, and just throwing a watt bomb at it.
Yes. And I do those once in a while and find myself and then you're just there. And then that's where you are. What was the title of your book? Now I've lost it already. And
I forgot it too.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
I should have written that down.
Somebody go back and clip it. Somebody go back and clip it for us. I can't believe we've lost it.
I'll go listen to the broadcast.
And this is going to be our moment where we're trying to find the little hopping frog demon from McCurry Islands. That this is going to be our moment for the Kappa. Looking for the Kappa.
Yeah. We have so many of those through the years. I love it. I love that we're back and enjoying this as much as ever right now. ZRL in full effect. Nathan, this open category is getting down to the business end now. As they roll up on 28K, that means that they've really got 4 kilometers and about 100 meters until this one puts paid. This lead group is clearly going to decide who the top team is in the first race of the season here in the Rolling Highlands in Scotland. We've been racing all day. We've still got more racing to look forward to on Zwift Community Live, but it looks like now, Nathan, it's going to be banned there attacking. So electricspirit.co. This has kind of been the story for the last 10K. Once this gap was established, these teams have just kind of kept rolling through. No brutal attacks, but exactly what you're seeing right now.
And as we see, Bayan set something up. That maybe just be a setup for a counterattack here. Humpton now throwing down a burrito, but he's not pushing more than 3 watts per kilogram. That's not something I would expect to be.
That's not outstanding.
An attack. No. That's not really an attack here. Using the burrito there, I think, mainly to collect the feather, because you do collect the feather through this UCI banner here. So that is probably what he's looking for. Look at the moon off in the distance there. Ominous as the sprint that is coming up for these riders. Absolutely loving it here in Glasgow. We're out on the rolling highlands. We're going to finish this up here with a little over 3K to go, Dave, and we got a break off the front of still. What is this going to be? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 riders off the front here. Electric Spirit Co. versus AHDR and a couple of others involved here. SDW is there as well. Dave, they've tried a couple of times, but it's the Death Star.
It's the Death Star. Yeah. No, they have tried a couple of times, much like Luke Skywalker, right? But this is going to be, at this point now, we're going to settle down. I have a feeling this group races for a sprint here. It certainly looks like it to me.
Duncan McRae thinks that it's 8 riders. Duncan McRae thinks that he predicted things correctly there. It's either
Good
1
job,
or it's 8. those are your two options. It's 1 or 8.
It's funny. I would say yes and yes. It's somewhere between 1 and 8. It's fair. Absolutely. Well, maybe I was wrong on that. It looks like they are attacking out of this group. Now, is this going to be another the orange jersey here? Is that just an older version of Electric Spirit Company?
I don't know. That's a good question. No, this is actually, one thing that this may be is sometimes we go to a default kit if the kit hasn't updated on our end. So if on my client side, perhaps that might be a thing, because this is the default, like the most default orange for Zwift. And so perhaps maybe this may be a kit that I'm just not picking up at this moment. So apologies if I'm not showing the brand for one of the teams there for Beatty. If somebody does know who he's riding for.
He's with SBRT is the team for Liam. So no, I think you're correct. Yep. Good job. You always do the best job, Nathan. Look at this, though. ElectricSpirit.co is going to roll this. Watch for the counter. AHDR, Australian Hump Day ride. So they're getting up there now. These two teams are really like two prize fighters squaring off at this point.
Yeah, and this is going to be all about who leads coming in, right? This is going to be it. Yeah. Like, you got 3 and 3. I'd be really surprised if any other team can challenge for the top spot with how many are up here in this lead group. You're going to take even 3 out of the top 8 spots.
Right, exactly. Remember what we saw with the Aeonian, where I was mentioning, like, hey, if they go 2nd, 3rd, 4th here, they're going to be the top team, and that turned out to be true. Well, at this point now, there's no mathematical way that if these teams distribute the top 8 points with 3 of their riders on either side, these will be our top 2 teams. No question. Now, it's really going to be who's going to take the outright win here, because that's going to be big for these riders. No question. Oh, man, it's certainly, I just feel like Australian Hump Day ride has been champing at the bit right now. But this could go any one of many different ways. I mean, my goodness, we could even end up with the points tie. The riders behind know that they still matter. That's a beautiful thing about WTRL, is there is a second group, and those points will ultimately decide things, I think, even though these teams are stacking, like, with 3 and 3 for both AHDR, Australian Hump Day. That's the team in blue. The white and orange is going to be ElectricSpirit.co, and we are locking this down, Nathan. It's clearly going to be a sprinting group here. One rider starting to inch off the front.
Beatty off the front just a little bit in the orange kit here with the orange Tron. It's going to be Barrett there from SDW, also leading things out to 3 and 3 here with Electric Spirit Co. and HDR at the back. No, here we go. It's going to be Sieber. Krieber now to the front, gets a gap immediately, 15 watts per kilogram. He's got 2 seconds, almost a second, over the pack. Looking at the 12 meters, nobody is in his draft.
It's not over.
It is not over. Lawrence is trying to come on, but he's holding on to 13. Dave, I'm not sure that they can match this man's power. He's got it. He's actually distanced himself still. It's going to be Creeber all the way to the line. He actually is able to sit up across the line. Electric Spirit Co. Oh, no, not going to take that second place. It's going to be third to Barrett from SDW, but AHDR actually unable to be involved for the top 3 in the final sprint, Dave.
Wow. ElectricSpirit.co opens up their account here in Season 1 of 2023-24. That was command performance stuff that we witnessed right there. So, Nathan, that was really interesting, showing that breakaways are, that's the second race in a row that we've seen a breakaway stay away out here, as we talked about pack dynamics quite a bit out here today, but that was ElectricSpirit.co's. That's the way they wanted to open up their account.
Talk about opening up the account. What a kick there. Creeber, nicely done. Right to the line. Open it up from all the way at the bottom. Gets the gap.
That's the ride of the day.
Gets the gap, Dave, and continued to open it up. Nobody could even respond. At this point, it was a race for second.
Yeah, and that's a new name to me as well, Nathan, which is something we talked about this season. And we're going to have some breakthrough riders coming out of the woodwork. And there is a tremendous example of someone that brought a lot of talent. And I'm not sure if that's a debut performance, but it's certainly one that caught my eye from Creeber here. This is the second and
for
third.
Second place. Yeah, and SDW. Nice job there for Barrett.
You know what, though? I mean, so they get the win in third, but AHDR takes fourth, fifth, and sixth. So it is going to come down to what the guys, and the last time we checked in with the chasing group, Nathan, AHDR looked positioned.
They had a lot of people there. That's a good point, Dave. They did have a lot of people there, didn't they?
If so, they can grab a 9th and a 10th or a 9th and an 11th. That will make up for a little bit of this, So it's, even if it's not going to be an ultimate W for AHDR, they're going to be close.
100%. Well, let's take a quick look here at the results, as the riders have mainly come across the line. And as you can see here, Ross Creeber, Thomas Bay, and take it away, Dave.
Yeah, so this doesn't tell us quite the whole story yet, but it does tell us exactly what happened in the top 10. And actually, look at that, Nathan. It's funny how 9th and 10th are actually more interesting to me right now, because it is Pinkerton and Tonk there for HDR.
Yeah, we actually had bets coming in on Pink, actually coming in from chat here. Reverb Design said he had 20 on Pink. Well, Pink took the sprint in the pack. He was right that Pinkerton was able to take down the pack sprint.
I wonder if we have a Wahoo LaCole situation where these teams, you see the CC1 and CC2, are these different teams being scored? And if so, that makes it obviously much better for Electric Spirit Co. And I think that's the case. So this is going to be undeniably Electric Spirit Co.'s day, as Ross Creeber, the Scottish rider, taking the W. It's going to be Belgium's Thomas Band taking the silver medal today. And then SDW, ABISPA, Rory Barrett, out of the United Kingdom, for bronze. So this is your top 10, with Palace Tim, ! In fourth place, but he's for CC1. You can see it's all AHDR, but Tommy Lawrence is with CC2 in fifth. Darren Bramwell, sixth place for AHDR CC2. Tim Humpton, nice job, Tim, ElectricSpirit.co. They love getting that seventh, Nathan. That's the deal maker for you, that seventh. First and second is great, but you love to put another rider in the top 10. Tim, you lived up to it. Liam Beatty was very active out here today for the Scottish Borders RT team. Nice work today, Liam. Jason Pinkerton for CC1 of the AHDR. That's Australian Hump Day ride, if I haven't said it enough, in ninth. And then Josh Tonk is going to be 10th. So we still will be sending you to WTRL.racing for all kinds of information on this fresh season. But we're off to a great start. But we're not done with the broadcast for today. That's for sure. America's coming up.
Double checking here really quickly if we got any updates. I just want to see, just to be nice for the B category, just real quickly and see. Nah, no update. Oh, just finishing up. It does look like Matt Gilmore, TJ Afringa, Peter Gilmore. Nice job to them. And I'm just gonna bring this up. We're not gonna go through everything, but just to let everybody know, we do have this And we will be putting their images up. We'll be looking to next week to be doing the B's and the C category a little bit more. So just as a heads up there, if you're looking for those broadcasts, they will be coming in for next week. This week there's some focusing on the A's. So and we will be looking to go across some of the other divisions as well as we go through this entire round over here on Zwift Community Live. Let's go and take a look at how things played out here. This is so far. I'm going to see if we can get. I'm just going to hit this board here real quickly just to make sure it doesn't update. And SDW, Dave, because of the split between the AHDR teams, having two of them, they actually end up being ahead. It looks like from our preliminary. This is preliminary. Official results. Head over to WTRL once things are all accounted for. But that's pretty amazing by SDW there.
I'll give them all that credit. That kind of snuck up on us. But there you go. SDW, ABISPA. I'll do some research on that. But they do end up in second, taking the 19 points. That'll show you what the league point table looks like at the first of 6 races out here. 2 of them, team time trials. So electricspirit.co, Sling taking the win. SDW for second. AHDRCC2. So a good problem to have that there's so much talent that you split them amongst the 2 teams, and they end up both in the top 4 with CC2 in 3rd, CC1 in 4th. It's Dirt Wolfpack 4 in 5th, Junkie Chasers in 6th, Early Dawn Activist Society in 7th, Team 175 in 8th, Noobs in 9th, and Pain Cave Heroes in 10th. So it was a fun start. There's no question. It looks like Pain Cave Heroes might have scratched, actually, there.
It's too bad to see. Hopefully we see them coming in the rest of the season. Now, I just want to highlight something real quick before we go, everybody. This is the end of our broadcast, but there are plenty of other broadcasts going on as we speak of Zwift, and we want you to be able to find them really easily. Well, the best way you can do that, head on over to twitch.tv and go to the Zwift category. Search Zwift up in this little box up here, and you're able to find that. Just go ahead and do that little Zwift search there, and bam, all of those other broadcasts that are live currently going on right now of real Zwifters, most of them doing their Zwift Racing League. And one of the best ways that you can figure out how to race Zwift is to watch other people racing Zwift that know what they're doing. And you can bet that if somebody's streaming their Zwift racing, they've probably done a little bit of thinking about how you're going to Zwift race. So definitely head on over to twitch.tv/go Zwift. You should be, or /Zwift/go Zwift would actually be the official Zwift channel that they have over there as well. But you'll be able to find those. Also over on YouTube, if you go to the YouTube gaming, you should be able to find it as a game category there as well. We'll be back later tonight. Head over to zwiftpower.com to see what we are broadcasting, or stay on YouTube and just go on over to the America's broadcast. It's coming up in just a few hours, and we will be broadcasting the women's and the men's races in the A's. We will see you there. If you haven't done so already, head on over to zwiftcommunitylive.com. You can find a place to sign up for our newsletters, find the podcast to talk about all things weight racing, fashion, Zwift tech, the upcoming updates, as well as updates that have come. A lot of opinions out there as well about all things Zwift. A lot of fun with it. And we even have a coach's corner that talks specifically about Zwift racing and how to train for Zwift racing with a lot of tips and tricks and all that. I really like doing that part, Dave. I'm actually having a lot of fun with that. I love the coaching aspect.
It's awesome content. Yeah, you do a tremendous job. We're not done, though. We get a little break, but we'll be back with more action here today. A lot of old friends we haven't seen, Nathan, as we get the band back together here for ZRL. So what a tremendous start. Isn't it great when you love what you do? And that's clearly 100%. The case here. So, yeah, fun day.
100%. Well, we'll see everybody in just a few hours for America's. Make sure to go check out that broadcast. But from Dave and I, if you're going to sleep over in Europe, thanks for tuning in. And as always, ride on.